bẹ́ẹ̀ ọmọ onílẹ̀ fẹ́ ló lẹ̀ Odùduwà 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 Yorùbá nation ti dé ó ti dé Odùduwà 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 òmìnira fún tẹrú tọmọ Odùduwà 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 ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ.
What we try to do on Yoruba Gbode is to let people know what is going on. We always bring special answer questions. And like we always do, I will implore you to be patient. I will implore everybody to be orderly like we always do on Yoruba Gbode. A lot of people are joining us on YouTube. We have a lot of people joining us on a special link on the Facebook. We have our Honorable Sister Sulfa Suara with us here helping us. We appreciate your help and all other person. We have a lot to talk about. We are not going to waste any time at all. Yes, you were brought up in the North and we heard about everything that you went through growing up, with all the girls getting married at an early age, and you stood your ground to do what was right. How did you feel when the girls from Chibok were kidnapped? What was the first thing that occurred to you when this happened? What was your reaction?
Thank you so much once again for having me. For me, the abduction of Chibok girls was such a devastating moment. It was basically for me reacting as a mother. As of that time, I have 2 children. I still have 2 children, and I had a teenager. My son was a teenager, and then my daughter was preteen. She was 12 when the abduction of Chibok girls happened, and I felt that, oh my goodness, if it was my children that were taken away, I'm not going to stay at home. And then and it was like, oh, just feeling that as a mother, my reaction was that of a mother, of knowing that, oh, your children have been taken away and how it feels. But over time, in the course of 1 month, because honestly, we all thought that Chibok girls were going to be brought back within a week. And that's why when I hear people talking about the stories of, oh, this was a BBOG was used to do this or used to do that or used to remove Jonathan and all of that, it's so surprising because we never even knew that we were going to stay there for over 2 weeks. We thought within a 1 month, all of the girls would be brought back, and it never happened. But prior to that Chibok girls abduction, my most momentous moment was on my 40th birthday. I turned 40 December 12, 2013. And I said to myself, I had become the problem of Nigeria. How did I become the problem of Nigeria? By my silence. I remember growing up as a girl and hating our country, the way it was, the corruption, the kind of leaders that we had. And all of a sudden, and I was so angry as a teenager, wondering why is it that the adults weren't doing anything? Why were they just watching? Why their fellow mates were destroying the country? And then here I was, also as an adult, destroying the country and failing all the children that are right now in the position that I used to be. And I said to myself, okay, I've gotten the main thing that one of the main focus in life for me was attaining financial independence. I said to people, when they talk about the canceling culture, the biggest canceling culture that we have is actually poverty. Poverty will cancel you to make you to be non-human. You're faceless, nameless, and voiceless as long as you're poor, especially in a country like Nigeria. And so I started looking at, okay, what are the things that I'm going to look at? I'm going to focus on national issues. And 4 months later, Chibok abduction happened. So it was sort of like I was ready and, to take on national issues. And then we had this unfortunate incident. Few weeks after we started the movement, by May, I realized that I was no longer in the movement because of my children. I was in the movement because of myself. I saw myself, and today I see myself as a Chibok girl 30 years ago. In 1991, 30 years ago, I was writing the same exam that Chibok girls were writing when they were abducted. And I knew that if I had been taken away, my parents would never have been able to say anything. They're poor, so they wouldn't have a voice. And I felt that, and I remember as a girl in secondary school looking for people to buy textbooks for me so that I'll be able to read and pass my exams, and I never got those textbooks. Knowing fully well that most times I would go to school hungry, knowing fully well that many people didn't even like the fact that I was in school, that I wanted to be in school. A lot of my friends all my friends were married up. The only friends I had were the ones in school. And so it was a big tough. And I realized that if I do not speak up for Chibok girls, if I do not continue this fight, that I would have failed myself the same way others failed me. The little girl that I was, I would have failed myself. And that's for me, it's one of the things that I resolved in May 2014. I said to myself, even if Chibok girls abduction, the fight for the rescue of Chibok girls takes the next 20 years, I'm ready to give the next 20 years. And I remember when I said that at the Unity Fountain, where we normally meet in 2014 for to advocate for the rescue of our Chibok girls, people were like, what? What do you mean 20 years? I'm like, that was how I felt about it. And it's been that way. And we see here 112 of our Chibok girls are still in captivity, 107 are back. Not just our Chibok girls in captivity, there's so many people today who are in captivity. We have the latest abduction of Islamia students, little children that were taken away from school. And also, there's also been another one in a polytechnic in Zaria, where students have also been taken away. In 2014, we used to say it, and we still say it today, that the fight for our Chibok girls is for those that were abducted before and after them. And as long as Chibok girls are in captivity, we all are in captivity. And that was my daughter that said that on the 1000th day of Chibok girls abduction, when she said, as long as Chibok girls are in captivity, we all are in captivity.
Yes. Several of the girls, like we are learning, we know that before, several of the girls are still missing. Why do you think it's possible for that to happen in a country like Nigeria? And if that is, if they're still missing, is there any hope for justice in Nigeria at all?
The reason why the 112 Chibok girls are still missing and other Nigerians are also still in captivity and they've not been brought back is because of the fact that the government has been given enabling environment to abdicate its responsibilities. And so lives do not matter. The Nigerian life actually do not matter. And one of the things that we have a nation where people do have very expensive empathy. They do not care about what is happening to the other person as long as it doesn't happen to them. It's only when it happens to them that they feel about it and they do something about it. And because we have a system where the citizens are not that invested in knowing their rights as citizens, and that the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties, and it's the duty of citizens to call out government and hold them accountable and responsible for things that are happening. So it gives that enabling environment for the government to continue to abdicate its responsibilities. Also, the fact that people turn the other way when things are happening to other people has given the criminals, the terrorists, enabling environment for them to keep going on. So it's sort of like give them that room for them to keep doing what they're doing. It emboldens them to keep on with their criminality and their terrorist activities. Until we get to a place in Nigeria where we understand that the machineries of the state should be deployed to everybody equally. It shouldn't matter whether you are rich or you're poor, whether you live in the cities or in the villages, whether you're educated or you're not educated. As long as you're a human being in Nigeria, then the machineries of the state should be deployed to everyone equally, not just to those who have famous surnames. Because you have those who have, say, famous surnames, they are easily brought back. I bet you if it was the children of Buhari or Steve and John that were taken away, we won't be here talking about them being rescued. They would have been rescued. The machinery of the state will be deployed to rescue them. In short, it's even deployed to protect them and ensure that they are not taken in the first place. If it was the children of Jonathan and nobody Sambo, good luck Ebele Jonathan and nobody Sambo that were taken away, we won't be here talking about the girls 7 years after. Basically, there's no respect for the human life. There's no respect for the common man. The machinery of state is not deployed to everyone equally. These are some of the things why this abduction keep happening, and it's like everybody just moves on. There's something that always that Dr. Obieza would normally explain when she talks about this lack of empathy for all the region. I think I'll just run us through it. If we go back to from 1967, where the Biafran War happened, when the Biafran War was going on, a lot the other parts of Nigeria didn't think it was any of their business. They looked the other way, they moved on. They left Biafra when the South region were having their own problem during the Ogoni massacre and all of that. The rest of the region looked the other way and didn't bother. The Southwest also went through its own problem during the June 12th cancellation, during the June 12th election and cancellation. And the rest of the country, of course, looked the other way and never bothered. The North Central have also gone through their own with the massacre, the farmer headsman crisis and all of that. The rest of the country looked the other way. The Northeast went through its Boko Haram and is still going through its Boko Haram terrorism. And then the rest of the country, of course, looked the other way. And now we have the Northwest going through its banditry. And again, the rest of the country is looking away. And we are back again. It's a full circle, and we are back to where we started. The Southeast today is people are being massacred. The government is coming down and clamping down on people. And what is happening again? The same mistake that our parents made in 1967, we are making it all over again by the other country, by the other part of the country looking the other way. Until we get to a place where we say, if you touch one Nigeria, you touch all of us, then our lives won't matter. The government will abdicate their responsibility. They will come after us. And then the criminals, the bandits, the terrorists, whatever it is we decide to call them, they will continue being emboldened and keep coming after our Nigerians. And that has to stop.
Thank you so much. Those of us who are just coming in, you are getting into Yoruba Gbode. Our special guest today is the lady activist, Aisha Yesufu. We are talking about the events of the Chibok girls and the reason why, at this point, over 100 Chibok girls are still missing. Now, moving forward, what do you think is going to bring hope and justice, especially for girls in Nigeria?
What is going to bring hope and justice, especially for girls in Nigeria, is for, first of all, every Nigerian citizen to realize that we are citizens and we are not slaves. And whoever it is that we put in office, they are accountable to us. They are our servants. That's why they're called public servants. They're there to serve, and they are not there for us to serve them. The moment we understand all of this, part of the things that we're going to do is to hold them accountable and ensure that whoever is in office gives the right kind of leadership that is expected, and that it doesn't matter what religion that person practice, believe in, or what tribe they are from, or which part of the country they are from. All that should matter should be the competence, the character, the capacity, the patriotism, the courage, the empathy of those leaders that we have in office. We must begin to take the rule of law to be sacrosanct. We must begin to take separation of power to be sacrosanct. We must begin to take good governance to be sacrosanct. We must begin to take transparency and accountability to be sacrosanct. And these are the things that we must ensure that we put in place. And that irrespective of whoever that person is, the Nigerian state should be there for everyone. We have a great and amazing country, and every one of us must be interested in politics. The time of being political illiterate, it's no longer now, where people think that it doesn't concern them what happens in politics. They will just mind their business and they will do their own thing. They will provide their own good quality education for their children, the healthcare system for themselves, do all those things, be the government in their lives. It has to stop. We need to realize that every one of us we have to be involved in politics. And when we are talking about politics, politics is not just about running for office. It's either you're running for office if you have the desire to serve, or you're campaigning for capable people who you know can run for office, or you're helping to raise money for them, or as you're also making demands on the people who have been elected into offices. So every one of us must take part in this politics for us to be able to fix Nigeria, because we can't fix Nigeria if we do not fix politics. The kind of leaders that we have will determine the kind of country that we have. And most times people are absent when it comes to the process that ensures, that gives us the kind of leaders that we need. And that is not acceptable. That's what we've been failing all this while. We have a missing elite who think because they can provide good healthcare for themselves, they can provide good roads, estates are building roads, they can give their children good quality education, go to private school, send them abroad and all of that, then they don't need to bother about Nigeria. But here we have seen it. Security is not something that each of us can individually do. We need to stay to be capable enough to do that. And it's affecting all of us. So citizens must realize that they need to take part in this politics in ensuring that good people, the right people, get into office. And not only do they get into office, but that every one of us, we hold them accountable. I have said it before, and I'm going to repeat myself here again to say, Nigeria does not need more activists. Nigeria needs more active citizens, because you find that a lot of people sit back and say, oh, there are certain activists that will do this. Oh, are you not the activist? No. I personally will say to people, I'm not an activist. I am an active Nigerian citizen who got tired of being silent, of being a part of the problem, and decided to start speaking up and making demands and ensuring that the right thing is done. So for us, one of the things that by the time we get the right people into office and hold them accountable, there are so many demands that we are going to make. One of them, of course, is to ensure that good quality education is accessible to everybody. Today, what we have in Nigeria is that good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one family, and that's a crime in itself. That's the greatest injustice that we have in Nigeria. So if you're poor, you don't have access to good quality education. And education, of course, is the leveler. Education is the easiest way to break the shackle of poverty. Education is what that's where we are going to get ourselves out of the situation that we are in today. And of course, one of the things that we have to understand is the fact that the new oil, the people are the new oil. Education is the new oil. It's not the before that you're expecting that you're going to be bringing out oil from one place or the other. It's all about education. And so for us to get to that level where there's scope, where there's justice, we need more educated people. In the meantime, we need political education. And I call on everybody, most especially the elite, use your circle of influence. Every one of us, we have a circle of influence. We have people we are paying their school fees, people we are paying for their children's school fees, helping them, help this. People are sending you texts in the middle of the night for you to help them. You always help them, but you never ask for anything in return. You don't even ask them who they vote for. You don't even try to see what is their inclination in politics. And then we get angry when they collect 5,000 naira or 500 naira from politicians and sell their vote. Well, when they are selling their vote, it's quid pro quo. They give something of importance in return for something of importance. They feel it's a transaction. They feel a sense of worth where they have something worth giving. But the rest of us, we just help them in the kind of a benefactor kind of way, and then making them always beholden to them. They don't have anything that they give back. So it is time as citizens also, the people around you, begin to talk to them, discuss with them, tell them the education that we have, like I always say, it's not for us alone. It's for millions of others who have not had the opportunity to be educated. So teach them, talk to them about politics, let them understand the relationship between governance and their lives, let them know what's going on, ensure that you're giving them the right message. In terms, even if you have to influence them in terms of the direction of the votes that they do, please, by all means, do that. We need to begin to think out of the box. And I said to people, the woman you're buying ubu from, the man you are buying suya from, the man that is cleaning your shoe, the man that is using, come to their own level. Don't speak to them in a condescending manner. Come to their own level and teach them about this political literacy. Teach them the relationship between their votes and the kind of life they have. The fact that their children they have not gotten jobs, it's not because of witches, it's not because of wizards, it's not because of enemies. There's no enemy truncating their life. It's because the government isn't doing the right thing. The economy is contracting. cutting, and so there are no jobs. Jobs are being taken away because it's increasingly more difficult for people to get jobs. When people go to hospitals, they do not get the right kind of drug they're supposed to get, or the kind of machines they're supposed to use for their sickness, and they die. It's not witches that want to drink blood. We do not have the right kind of medical care. A few days ago, I think that was yesterday or the day before yesterday, a Danish player fell on the field of play, and he was revived. His heart stopped beating for a while. Defibrillator was used. I hope I got that right. I might be wrong. Please correct me. Were used on him. CPR, all of the things that needed to be done. He was taken to ambulance immediately. Some years ago, a Nigerian fell on the pitch. He ended up dying. What happened? There were CPRs waiting there. People were just fanning him. There were no things that would be used to start the heart. And the saddest part of it all was that the ambulance that was even brought in, it couldn't drive. They had to be pushing the ambulance. And at the end of the day, the person ended up dying. It's not wizards that killed him. It's not witches that killed him. We just don't have the right kind of healthcare system. And so people should focus on that. And I see a message that is coming here from Elizabeth. Totally agree with her. When she's talking about the fact that we need to keep religion out of politics. Religion is personal. People should keep it at their personal level. One of the things that we have today is that we have so many people who have abdicated their responsibilities to God. So people do nothing and they keep praying. Nigerians think they have the patience to pray. And I said to them when they tell me that, oh, God will fix Nigeria. We are praying that God will fix Nigeria. I said to them, God will not do for us what he has given us the capacity for us to do for ourselves. And therefore, God is not going to fix Nigeria for us. We are the ones who are going to fix Nigeria. And every 4 years, we have opportunity to put the right people in terms of office. And I'll round up here by saying that one of the illustrations I always say to people, I say, if you like, where you're sitting down, sit down where you are and start fasting and praying. If you like, speak in tongues. If you like, speak in parables. If you like, recite the whole Quran and say that you want jollof rice to appear in your front. You will not see jollof rice until you enter the kitchen and cook that jollof rice. You won't see it because God has given us the capacity to make jollof rice for ourselves. And then he's not going to come down and make jollof rice for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Aisha Yesufu. One of the things that you did that you were very prominent on was the End SARS. It was one of those protests that shook the whole nation. Can you tell us the origin of the End SARS? And can you also add what was it supposed to end?
Okay. So first of all, one of the things I'm going to say here, which I've said on several other platforms, is the fact that I am not, I'm not one of the NSAS. How do I put it now? I'm not. What's the word now? I'm not an NSAS convener. So I joined the NSAS protest like every other Nigerian who heard the call for NSAS the call for NSAS, and I was on the street. It was the October NSAS protest was absolutely done by the Nigerian youth. They owned it, they did it, they made us proud, they stood in the line, they stood for the nation. And for me, I'm forever grateful to them for taking that stand. NSAS started not, a lot of people got to know about it in 2020. It started around, the first NSAS protest was around 2017 that it happened. Not many people came out. For those who are not Nigerians, SARS is the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. It's a unit of police that was set up, I think, about 30 plus years ago. There was a time in Nigeria where armed robbers, the menace of armed robber was terrible. I mean, armed robbers affected everyone. They killed, they maimed, they did all sorts of things. Even like you have a lot of the herdsmen were attacked. And I remember that was part of the period that the herdsmen started carrying arms in Nigeria to protect themselves. It was terrible, just like we were talking about terrorism today. Armed robbery was terrible. And this particular unit of the police was set up. And you know one thing about life is that anything that the rule of law is not followed, whether you like it or not, with time, it will become corrupted. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, in terms of trying to get them not to be bogged down by the bureaucracy of the police, they were given so much power. They didn't even have to wear the police uniform. They could enter into places and out. And there were a lot of extrajudicial killings that were going on. So, and people were praising them. So they would get armed robbers, they would kill them, and the next thing you see, people are being paraded. They would say they are armed robbers. Citizens were hailing them. Citizens were happy with them, just like we have with the unknown gunmen that are happening in the southeast today. It was the same thing also with the Boko Haram. So by the time people were praising, it started getting into their head. Before you know what's happening, more and more people were being killed, even when they were not robbers. There were stories of people being exchanged, any small thing, they gun you down and whatever. And then in the last few years, what we've had is that young people were being profiled. Young people were being profiled by this police, and they were being extorted, they were being killed. If you don't open your phone, they will shoot you. They ask you for money, they will take away your money. And these young people with the social media, they kept coming out and talking about the fact that their monies were being taken away, they were being killed, a lot of stray bullets were getting at people. People were being shot at directly for 20 naira, for 100 naira. Somebody would just pick a gun and just shoot someone down. And the police didn't do anything and still hasn't done anything. And most of them, when the special anti-robbery squad, the task officers started to the extent they started going out with POS, they will make you to transfer money to them. They will follow you to ATM and then get your money. People were actually posting this thing on the social media with receipt to say, this is where we transferred our money to. Police, can you trace them and do something about it? But they never did. And over the years, so that's where the whole NSAS, the hashtag NSAS started. I think it was Shegu Awosanya, popularly known as Segale, that started that hashtag, if I'm not mistaken. And it kept on going. In 2017, I was there at the protest where people were asked to come out to protest. Not many people came out on that day. And then the police, what they did was to hire thousands and thousands and thousands of other people to support to say they are supporting the police, so to counter the protest. I've never seen that number of people at a protest in my life, and it was so huge. The other NSAS protesters, they ended up not doing that protest that day. They did it at the Unity Fountain. We had to bring back our best protest we were going to do. We went ahead anyway and did our protest. So this killing sort of like went, so people were getting more and more angry. And come back to October, towards the end of 2020, a young man was killed in Port Harcourt for not opening his phone, a 20-year-old young man. And there was a video of his father that went viral, where the father was crying that he killed his 20-year-old. He had spent 12 years in the north, and then he brought his children back to Port Harcourt, and then his child was killed. Not long after that, at Ugeli, a man was shot at by these cars, and they took away his vehicle. And the youth at Ugeli, they were angry, and they went on protest. When they did that, Omoyele Sowore tweeted, I saw his tweet where he said, can there be a protest? Let's all come out all over the country and do a protest in solidarity, and just with those in Ugeli, and also say NSAS. And that protest was supposed to be from the 7th to the 9th of October 2020. The first tweet that I saw that organized the protest was from a young man called Adamu Mohammed in Kano. And he said on the 7th they were going to come out. And ironically, on that 7th, it was only this Adamu and his friend, two of them came out for that protest. Though on the 19th of October, he called for another protest again. Thousands of people came out. But in the meantime, on 7th also, Rino Oduala in Lagos and other people decided that they were going to stay at the Lagos State House of Assembly and stage out and stay there and occupy that place for 3 days, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. In Abuja, on the 8th of October, we went for that NSAS protest. I was part of the NSAS protest on the 8th. Then on the 9th, there was another protest that was held by some youth. What's his name now? If I remember his name, I'll give you his name. So one of the guys, he said in the middle of the night, he was just tired and feeling helpless and angry. He decided to form a WhatsApp group. And so he did a WhatsApp group, and he invited his friends and said, what can we do? And then they invited others. In the morning of the 9th, they went out on the streets and they protested. And that was when the police attacked them. Tear gassed them and shot at them. So when they all ran away, so when we heard about it, myself, Dr. Obias Okwesili, and Maureen Kabrik, we went to the IG of police and said, you do not have a right to shoot at protesters. They're simply protesting. You're supposed to be there to protect them. And so on the 10th, they said they were going to come out. And so that was when I come out with the youth on that day. Mine was just to be there. I said, I'm just here to ensure that you are safe and the police isn't doing anything funny. And they did that. When they got to the police headquarters, they said they were going to meet the IG of police. It wasn't around that day. And they said they were going to sleep there. And at one time, I sat at the back almost throughout that protest. At one moment, the police, came out and did a formation that they were going to shoot at the people, at the protesters. And I came to the front and I said to the police, if you're going to shoot at them, then you're going to shoot me first. And that's when that whole picture that went viral was taken. It was in that moment of defiance and saying, this is what needed to be done. The right thing needed to be done. And at the end of the day, of course, they ended up putting that tear gas where people ran away. And I had to walk with my hands held high. The aim of the EndSARS protest, the Nigerian youth were simply saying, stop killing us. Police were profiling and killing Nigerian youth. If you have a cell phone, an expensive cell phone, you are a suspect. It was a crime. If you have the dreadlocks, it was a crime. If you look good, if you drive good car, it was a crime. The Nigerian youth that we have all failed, that we have not given them an enabling environment for them to thrive, have been able to find niches for themselves. And in these niches, they've been thriving. The world is a global world. The world is no longer what it used to be. There's technology, there's social media, there are opportunities to make money that we don't have, not just the criminal ones. Of course, those ones that are criminal, they must face the wrath of the law. But there are people who are using technology in a genuine manner and actually earning money, and they were being profiled and taken up one after the other by the police. And the Nigerian youth came out on that day to say, EndSARS, stop killing us. Stop killing us. And what ended up happening? The Nigerian government on 20th of October 2020 decided to kill and massacre its own people. The same youth who were saying, stop killing us under the cover of darkness, the Nigerian government killed them in broad daylight, on live streaming, not caring and not giving a hoot what the world thought about it. So the EndSARS protest, I said the president is trying to say that the EndSARS protest was done to topple his government. Nobody cares about his government. If he was doing the right thing, nobody will have time for the president. People have their own businesses that they need to do. And it was never about a regime change or taking out the government. It was about the life of the Nigerian citizens should matter. And many people who do not understand this do not realize that the EndSARS protesters did not want other families to cry the way others have cried over their loved ones being killed by police. And so what the EndSARS protest was all about was that stop police brutality, stop killing people, let the Nigerian life matter, let us have a good life in our country. Let us be something that we look for. And for one of the things that many people do not understand is that the EndSARS protest was actually a protest of survival. It wasn't a protest of empathy like the Bring Back Our Girls protest and the other protests that we normally do, because most of the EndSARS protesters were actually victims of police brutality. They were either victims or their loved ones were victims, and some of them were victims many times over. And since the EndSARS protest, there have been a lot of families who have had to go through the pains and felt the tears and the anguish and the agony of those who have lost their loved ones to police brutality. And I think it's something that every Nigerian should ensure that they're making demands for every one of our lives to matter.
Thank you. I know that people did a lot during the EndSARS. It was one of its kind in Nigeria. It's like we never had anything like that. Yet people were thinking that the outcome was supposed to be more than what we had. What do you think?
Well, yes, of course, definitely. The outcome was supposed to be more than what we have today. The 5 for 5 that the EndSARS protesters brought out, most of those demands haven't been met. Yes, there are panels have been going on, and then some of the things, of course, have been met in terms of some of the panels that have been set up. The people have been compensated to an extent. understand people are still fighting for justice, and that's what they expect to see. But you find a situation whereby the police, the SARS are still on the streets, even though they are there like under a different name. They are still killing and maiming. Police brutality is still going on. People are still losing their lives to police who just open their guns and shoot. And I think recently there was one shooting that happened of somebody not giving some sort of money, and then the police just shot at the person. And so most of the things that we expected hasn't happened, because we have a government that is terrible, a government that it's a terrorist government. It doesn't even behave like a terrorist, but it's actually a terrorist government that goes about killing its own people. And this is one of the things that we said is not acceptable. And Nigeria should understand, for every time that people come out on the streets, they're actually doing it for every one of us, and not just for themselves, those ones that are on the streets. And but the biggest thing that NSAS has done, which a lot of people, when people say, "Oh, NSAS was a failure," no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It had great, how do I put it? There was quite a huge success, and that is emancipation. A lot of people have been emancipated. A lot of people now understand their rights. A lot of the Nigerian youth that before didn't bother about what was happening in Nigeria, didn't care about what was happening in Nigeria, we move on with their issues. Today, they are bothered. You saw all over the world, all over Nigeria, all of Nigeria. I'm really and absolutely indebted to them. I'm proud of the Nigerian youth, and I continue to say to them, well done. They've done amazingly well, and they
We have a little phrase. Yeah. People all over the world listening to us. Our guest is the lady activist, Aisha Yesufu. The computer went frozen for a second, and those of us on YouTube, please continue to share. I think she's back.
Yes, hello.
Yes, you are back. Thank you.
Yes, I think I was knocked off for a moment. I don't know what happened. And then also, if you could send me the links of the YouTube, I could also share on my platform, so that if people want to join, they can do it. I don't know where you heard me last, so let me know so that I can either rewind or continue.
Okay. I'm going to ask the admin to do that. Please, Oriaku, Engineer Oriaku, put the YouTube link for us.
Yeah, they should just send it to my WhatsApp group, please. My WhatsApp. Yeah, so that I'll just copy it and share it on those places.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put it on your WhatsApp now. Other people listening to us, please share on YouTube as we continue. Where we are now, we have some elders who are actually the pillars of Yoruba Gbode. I'm going to call Baba Banji Agiloge to ask a question before we move on to our other people here. Baba Banji Agiloge.
I'm here. Good evening, Aisha. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
It's nice to have finally, met you.
Thank you, sir.
I've been hearing about you, I've read about you, and also watched some of your, videos and all that on social media.
Thank you.
What strikes me as you were talking, that this was.
Thank you, Shed.
Seriously, this was the same position we elders were 40, 50 years ago, even up to about 25 years ago. We always were brimming with nationalism, how we can bring Nigeria to where it is. All we have to do is get a lot of people to be interested. I almost just sat down and said, well, I will listen to you until you started again hitting the nail on its head that there has never been a national crisis in Nigeria. What we've been having a crisis of nationality, and you mentioned Yoruba had its own, Igbo had its own, Northwest. Now, lately we sat down and we finally admitted that the only way we can move forward as a people, not as a country, as a people, is to finally recognize the importance of nationhood. When you are a nation, you tend to think in terms of that nation. Nigeria is not a nation, it is several nations forced together. And because of that, we have never in the history of that country have we been able to think as a nation. Of course, we have people like you, myself, Femi, and others coming out and trying hard. The more you try, the more those who, by crook or by any means, are able to appropriate the collective power of the country, the more they do damages or the more they throw us apart. And I give you an example. Never in the history of the country have we descended this low. Muhammadu Buhari got there and decided that the only people that matter are the people that share his religion, that share his geographical area, and these people can be relied upon to, to continue to enjoy or to have plum political appointments. If you are from certain section of the country today, no matter how many billions you appropriate, you are not likely to be prosecuted. Whereas if you are from the wrong side of your case will come unless you cry and go to them and say you join them and you become an instrument. Now, what we have done is to do the same thing Europe did, what we are aiming at. Europe did not become settled or peaceful until Europe delineated themselves into manageable nation states. And even now, the process is still ongoing. And so we concluded that rather than fighting and yearning for unity that can never come, why not have nation states emerge from Nigeria? When the nation states emerge, we can now come back and do the same thing that the Europeans are doing, creating an EU or European Union to manage certain national factors. Even at that, you have Britain taking its political decision out of the hands of the EU at the party bank. So the stage that the Yorubas are, and this is the first time, and I always emphasize this, it is the first time in the nation's history that the Yoruba will say, look, we are better off out of this union because it's not working for us. It is not just even Buhari. Despite the fact that the Yoruba individuals were at the forefront of fighting for power to shift to the vice president, who was Jonathan, Yoruba were hardly not noticeable in Jonathan's administration either. So it's like everybody see a giant that has to be pulled down. And we are fed up with that. Our youth are yearning to be let free, to be allowed to develop, but we have not been. We are looking, when I was told that you were coming, we are looking for a very fresh approach to what we used to. Many of us here were in the anti-military, the civilian anti-military crisis that we pressed for civilian regime. Most of us started by asking, for a national solution. But it wasn't coming. It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the second time. And now, even rotational presidency seems to be another means of saying your own section, you have eaten your own, this is the turn of your own section to eat. And then when you finish, you send it to the next favored section to eat. That is not how to build a nation. And we are regressing every day. So therefore, what I was hoping to hear from you is a very different thing. That we're looking for solutions, something out of, that is not what we've been served by all of us who were in the activist field before. And as for me personally, I have moved on to a stage where we can have nations out of that country.
Thank you, Baba Banji Ayiloge. Sister Aisha, do you have a response?
Okay, thank you so much. Initially, I couldn't unmute myself, but I can now. Thank you so much for that. One of the things that for me, when I hear this talk about the different nations, is that, is there any part of Nigeria right now that it's working? And I know the answer is absolutely not. Do we have state governors that are doing anything? The answer is not. I think there's that, it's romantic when we think that, the moment we become nations, that everything will be okay. And I think to an extent, we sort of like forget the reason why actually in the first place, we left where we were as regions and became, the federation we became and all of that. I am not one of the majority tribes. I'm not Hausa, I'm not Yoruba, I'm not Igbo. I'm Yesufu. I am minority amongst the minority. I mean, the day somebody said that I am Southern Muslim in a predominantly Christian state, or region, and where my tribe is small compared to everything. And where am I in that nationhood? And sometimes when I see the major tribes, see there's this coming, I'm like, okay, do you even think about us? What about the rest of us? But putting it aside, for me, one Nigeria is not sacrosanct. We don't have to have one Nigeria. We can break up into different nations. We can have devolution of power. We can do the same thing that the UK did, where they have the Scotland, Wales, England, and Northern Ireland. Whatever it takes. For me, what is sacrosanct is rule of law, separation of power, good governance, accountability, transparency, lives of citizens being worthy and being taken as important. And that for me, it's more important. And if we have to break into different regions for us to be able to do that, then so be it. But the thing for me that I see and which I do not, sometimes I say to people, we should not just assume that the moment we become different nations, that everything is going to be okay. No, it's not going to be. We need to understand that until the citizens, yes, Europe used to be, it was unmanageable, they broke up into different parts, but even when they broke up into different parts, the citizens had to take part in governance. What we have right now is that the citizens are absent when it comes to governance. There are two sides of governance, like Dr. Obieze Kwesili will always say, the supply side and the demand side. Those who are voted into office, they make demand, they supply. Those who vote them into office are supposed to make demands, and which most times we don't do. So because we are not demanding for good governance, the people who are voted into office, they give what comes easy to them, which is bad governance. knowing fully well that they are not going to be accountable to anybody. And if they hold anyone accountable, people will whip up sentiments, they will whip up religious sentiments, they will whip up tribal sentiments, whatever sentiments that they can whip up. So for us, the main problem here is let people understand that going to your churches to go and pray that God will fix Nigeria will not fix Nigeria. Going to your mosque to go and pray that God will fix Nigeria will not fix your Nigeria. Going to your shrine to go and pray that God will fix Nigeria, God will not fix Nigeria. It is we that will fix Nigeria because God has given us the capacity to fix Nigeria. We have everything that it takes. And so we have to do it until we get to, and I also say something, and I'm going to repeat it here. Democracy without education is a disaster. Because you have people who are uneducated, who do not understand the relationship between governance and their lives. And what do? So they don't know what democracy is all about. All they know is that they come to them, they give them some money that will solve their few immediate 1 hour problem, and they give up their votes. They don't understand what it is. And most people are not educated enough. And then the people that are in power, they have weaponized illiteracy, they have weaponized poverty. And so they're doing all sorts of things that they want to do. We must get to that part. If you're looking for this good governance, it's not just the region, it's not just separating. You have Yoruba nation, you have the Arewa nation, Oduduwa nation, Biafra nation, then probably the rest of us, South, we join ourselves, we have our own nation. I mean, we split into 6 geopolitical zones. As long as we do not tackle the issue of illiteracy, the issue of lack of good quality education, we're going to still be the same way we were in a more fragmented manner. So the issue here is getting citizens who understand what democracy is all about, getting people who are educated enough to know the relationship between governance and their lives, and of course, the Nigerian elite that is missing. We have a missing elite. And even today, this morning, I tweeted out and I said, the problem of Nigeria is not even the Nigerian poor, that their poverty has been weaponized and they buy their vote. It's the Nigerian elite that has refused to take part in politics. Most of our fathers and our elders, they fought against the military. They did everything. They stood on the line. They put their lives on hold. Some of them paid the ultimate price for the democracy that we are enjoying today. But guess what? When it was time for the democracy to take place, they left the stage. They left the stage of politics. And then we also are repeating the same mistakes. People are staying away from politics. You hear, oh, I don't want to be part of politics. It's not a good business. Most of us are political illiterates. We do not understand. Myself too, I'm a political illiterate. I'm trying to get the education now. We do not take part in politics. We refuse to take part. We get this sense of a holiness or righteousness, saying that, no, I'm not doing politics. So politics is dirty. And then they allow hoodlums to get into the political arena, and they're the ones who are running politics. What happened in 1999? Most of the people who, in short, I'm almost tempted to say all the people who fought for our democracy were missing in 1999 when it was time to run for election. By the time they came back, by 2023, they wanted to get into politics. The people who had put themselves in there had already ensured themselves that they were not going to be knocked out. One of the things that we have to understand in Nigeria is that the people who are ready to give us bad governance, who do not think good for this country, are very persistent. They don't give up. Just look at the present president we have today. He spent 12 years consistently coming out every 4 years to run for election to come and give us this disaster that we are witnessing today. There are a lot of good people who could have done good things for Nigeria. By the time they came out once, twice, they gave up. And I will tell you the reason why most of them do give up. They give up because they do not have the resources to be able to keep on. Most of us, we do not take part in election. We do not run for office. We do not campaign for those who run for office. We do not raise funds for those who run for office. We do not hold those that are voted into office accountable. We do not make demands on them. How are we going to get good governance? We're not going to get good governance with that attitude. And I've said it before and I repeat it here again to say that if we're thinking of getting Nigeria, whether it's as nations or as one country, the first thing we need to do is to ensure that we get the right people into office. We get people who have competence, character, capacity, who are patriotic, who have empathy, who are courageous, who will do the right thing, who will not allow themselves to be corrupted by power, while we are making sure they are not corrupted, to be in office. When they get there, we can demand for a new constitution. We can demand for us to have devolution of power. We can have a loose federation. Nigeria can go back into regions the way we used to have before. And then we have we already have a 6 geopolitical region. We can go into those regions, and then the federal government, the power at the federal level is curtailed, and then more power, devolved powers to all of these regions, and they can do what they need to do. But then we need to get the people that are going to do that into office. Since we're not going to go a violent way. Because if you do not do that, the people who are there right now, it does not serve their interest for them to give us a new constitution. It does not serve their interest for them to have a referendum as part of our constitution, where people can decide whether they want to stay as part of Nigeria or not. For me personally, I am okay with Nigeria breaking into, even if it's 36 states. That means all I need to do is to ask for visa whenever I'm going to any region or any state. And I'm okay with that. But we must understand that if we're carrying the same sets of people with the same sets of attitude into this devolved nation, we're going to have the same set of problems. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. You're not going to get a different result. We need to tackle the issue as we are. Yes, we can still ask for all of these devolved nations. We can still ask for nations and all of that. But we have to tackle the main issues that we have today. And today I say to everyone, if we need to begin to fix Nigeria in whatever way, whether as one nation or as devolved nation or as different nations, we need to fix politics. We must understand that we must put our monies where our votes are. We must stop shaming people from running for office. We must stop shaming the good people from running away from office. If we do not put our monies where our votes are, what I mean by that is that when people are running for office, we must donate for their campaigns. In other countries, it's not the people who are running for politics, who are running for offices, that bring money for their election. If you expect that the people who are running for offices are the ones that are going to bring money for their election, what is going to happen is that people that have stolen our collective wealth are going to bring that money and use it to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges in office, which is already what we are already having today. So we must understand that when election comes, I will donate my 1 naira, you will donate your 1 naira, we will be able to do that. And that was part of the things that Buhari was able to use all these years. People were donating for him, people believed in him, people thought he was going to come and do good things for Nigeria, which he hasn't done. So for me, I think part of the things also, part of the thing we haven't looked at, which the same mistake I must admit we also are making, is staying away from politics, shaming good people from politics. We said, you think politics is by grammar? Go away. Politics is not a clean game. Politics is for no. Politics is for everyone who wants to a greater nation, and every one of us must choose the side of politics that we best fit in, whether the demand side, whether running for office, whether campaigning for people running for office, whether helping to fundraise for people running for office. We must do that and ensure that we have good people in office, the right people in office. And when these people get into office, we must hold them accountable. Never again should we get to a place where we are allowing people do anyhow and say, oh no, don't hold them accountable. Hold them accountable, and we will see that Nigeria that we all want, whether as one nation or as different nations. I'm good with that. Thank you. Hello, Madam Shola.
If you have an opportunity to ask a question from Sister Aisha Yesufu, what would that question be, sir?
Well, if all I can do is ask a question, I didn't prepare for one, so I'm going to just make 1 or 2 comments. One, I want to thank her for coming. I'm the son of a woman, so I'm always affected by the emergence of women in a muscle-bound activity like politics. The more we make it less muscle-bound, the better we get the brains of 50% of the human race to contribute. She has gone through a whole lot of analysis. She's very good at the analysis. I mean, she's here. So you are very good at analysis, Ms.
Thank you, sir.
Yesufu. And analysis is just that, breakdown of a problem into its component parts. The question is, when you reach the component parts and you find the solution to each component part, you are not even halfway, because now you are going to go into synthesis of those component solutions to an integral whole. And the path to building component solutions into an integral whole is not one. There are several of them. So the path that you seem to have taken is not new, it's refreshing, but there are so many other paths that are in competition with the path that you seem to have taken. They are not necessarily better or worse. They are just things that we have to mull in our minds to reach redemption. Before Lugard, thousands and thousands and thousands of years before Lugard, nations were created naturally. Natio in Latin means born into. So the Afemai nation, the Yoruba nation, the Edo nation, the Hausa nation, the Fulani nation, the Igbo nation, etc., existed. And whichever way they existed, they managed their lives for thousands of years before imperialism. Nigeria, so I split things into before Lugard and after Lugard. Before Lugard, there was nothing like, there was no Nigeria. With Lugard and after Lugard, we have a Nigeria that has wrecked everybody all over the country. We must not deny that. The process of wrecking has been because the imperialists had an agenda for creating Nigeria. That agenda is still what is operating. That includes divide and conquer. That includes creating young politicians. That includes marginalizing people so that they will never be able to fight for themselves. That includes weaponizing poverty and illiteracy and everything that you have mentioned. All of those things are facts. How do we get out of the hole? Yes, the people who, in my experience, Afemai and Edo and Midwest Igbo and Shekiri and Midwest Ijo, they were all part of one region before, Western Nigeria, Western region. So that was more a nation than anybody can imagine, because whenever they had a policy, it covered the entire territory. Free education all over the place, January 17, 1955. Free medical service, farm settlements, etc., spread all over the region. So even though they didn't speak exactly the same language, for the years between January 52 and 1959, we, Western region, or 1961, Western region had a national look. Types and trunks different, didn't make any difference. That's what Nigeria is not able to manage. And that's why those who envied Western region in those days started breaking it down. So they created the Midwest. Okay. Those of us who grew up under it, I started schooling precisely when Western region was inaugurated. those of us who knew how good regions were at that time, including Eastern region and to some extent Northern region, when we hunger back and say we need to have nations, the nations don't have to have uniform language. They just have to have uniform philosophy of governance. Uniform philosophy of governance is impossible in your constituted Nigeria. There are people who think it is their birthright to govern all of us. And you are not going to change their mind. And they are going to kill and maim in the process. Because conquest is in their DNA. We can't deny that. So after Lugard, we were still able to manage something. It was a parliament in which representatives were in the House of Representatives. Nobody. There was no imperial presidency. The military came in, gave us imperial presidency with guns. And when they were leaving in 1979, they created a presidency that was imperial. It is that imperial presidency, rather than prime minister selected in the House, a presidency. And let me tell you why the presidency is imperial. We all grew up in our traditional societies with obas, who are called kabiyesi, that is kabiyesi, nobody can question you. So the mistake in politics in Nigeria is that we continue to think that the people we elected as kabiyesi, we are not able to separate the power that they get by being voted in with the power of our natural rulers that were very local and therefore not dangerous to the country. So where I'm going, madam, is that we can do all this analysis, but the most important thing is the survival and continuance of all of our people and the environment that will enable that. That environment is not in Nigeria of today. And it is difficult to achieve because Nigeria of today was not designed by Nigerians. It was designed by colonial masters for the purposes of their economic advantage, and that is still going on as we are talking.
Thank you, Baba.
I want to thank you very much for coming, and I salute you. You remind me of Mrs. Ransom Kuti. That was the first woman I knew to be participating in political processes. So you're a worthy descendant of that era. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I feel truly honored that you think of me and the same, spread with the same breath and sentence as Madam Ransom Kuti. She really was there for the nation. And thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. One of the things that I would just want to say in addition to all that you have said is the fact that no one region today can give anyone presidency. Whatever sense of should I say sense of arrogance that anyone put to themselves in thinking that they are the ones who are born to rule, it's over and done with. I think if there's nothing we learned from the 12 years that the present president tried to be president, what we should learn is the fact that no one region can give anyone presidency in this country. There was a time when in Nigeria, it was thought that the North alone could give somebody power. And that's exactly what the president thought. 2003, 2007, 2011, he behaved absolutely in that manner. And which were even some regions, he absolutely discarded them, disregarded them, didn't even bother to campaign in those regions. Until it dawned on him that, look, the North, whatever number you think you're bringing from the North, it's not going to be enough for you. One region cannot give you presidency of Nigeria. And in 2015, he did form that alliance, and he was able to get other regions to join in. In 2019, exactly the same thing again. And we saw where he started flying some major leaders from certain regions that he had ignored all throughout his first term. He started flying them in his presidential jet in 2019. And he was able to get that support of that region. Without the support of those regions, he wouldn't have been able to win that election. So in anything that we do, I think it's very important that we put that in the back of our mind. It has changed. The North, I was born and brought up in the North. And I know, so all my life, I grew up in the North. I presently live in Abuja. I'm from Edo State, yes. And for me, it's so lovely just hearing you talk about Afema Nation, which is something that not many people talk about, about Afema Nation. I'm from Afema. I'm part of the Kukuruku Empire. And like our daddy just said, we had nations even before the colonialists came in and disrupted the things that we have. But one of the things for me that I always say is the fact that there's this saying where they say yesterday died last night. And sometimes if we we need history to be able to learn out, to be able to do more with our future. But also we need to look at certain things in a very dispassionate manner. I do see a lot of people, where were we before even colonialism in Africa, in Nigeria? Most of our people stayed in one place. I look at it, I say, look, our forefathers stayed in one place for other people to travel thousands of miles to come and meet them and colonize them and turn them to slaves. We're doing the same thing also today. Our forefathers were busy bickering among themselves. Some of them didn't even travel out. They were talking about 7 rivers and 7 seas. They were being so religious in a way, so spiritual. Oh, this one we do this to you. Amadioha, we do this to you. This one we do that to you, and things like that. People stayed in one place. Some of them didn't even know that across certain rivers, the people were there speaking the same language that they're speaking. And they waited for people to come and colonize them. And we're here today, and we're doing the same thing. The world today is having a space race. People are trying to see how they can colonize the space. People are going there. What are we doing in this part of the world? We're still bickering. We're still trying to find ourselves. We're still doing the same thing. Years from now, hundreds of years from today, we're going to have our descendants who are going to look back again and they are going to blame us. And the thing is that they always say experience is the best teacher, but hey, who says we have to leave it to experiences? There are certain things we can look at out there and say, okay, what is it that we need to make right? What are the things that we need to do to get away from where we used to be? Let me give an example of what happened. In 1999, when Obasanjo came in, and then and he started, he did certain appointments that ordinarily were thought to be the Northwest kind of appointment. The Muslim Northwest, these places were supposed to be the things like, the chief of army staff and all of those that. And he appointed people from the North. And then you saw some people starting to say at that moment that, oh, but these people, you didn't appoint from the North. And it's like, no, they are not. They might not be the Northwest Muslims, but they're not. And, it sort of like brought that demarcation. So you do not have the North that you used to have before, where they will say one North, one voice. It's not more like that. You have the North Central, you have even within Kaduna, the Southern Kaduna, the Plateau, the Kogi, the Niger, the Kwara. At certain time, even Niger is being told it's not northern enough. So there are some places where you have places where you're not either too south to be north or too north to be south, or you're not northern enough, you're not southern enough, and all of that. So the country is a bit, we have all of this sort of like things being messed up in a way. But the thing that is we should understand, which I said to many people, yes, there are a lot of things that separate us, but guess what? We have so many things that are uniting us. Can we unite on those things? One of the things I will say to us all here, when I travel to any part in Nigeria, if I enter the state capital, as soon as I drop in the state capital, I feel at home. Because if you take away the language and the mode of dressing, every state capital in Nigeria looks like the other one. The poverty is the same. The air of neglect is the same. The corruption is the same. The lack of good quality education is the same. The people, you see places that they are not looking well kept, they are not, it's the same. So why
roads are same too?
Yes, the roads that are terrible. My body is going to be shaking. And right now I'm going to be scared traveling from one part to the other. So if we have a nation, if we are people who are united by our problems, why do we not unite based on our problems, the poverty, the corruption, the lack of good quality education, the lack of access to good road, lack of security, lack of good healthcare system, lack of good housing, those red corrugated roofs that whenever you're flying up into any state capital, oh my goodness, it gets you some sort of like crazy, those disorderly plans that we have. Can we unite on the lack of food security? Can we unite on these things and solve these things? And when we are done solving them, we cannot look at each other and say, come on. Even I say na Yoruba person be, I be na Igbo person be, I be na Esako, I be na Ibibe. Hey, can we not talk about our difference? Oh, it's as if you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are a Kanka, you are a Ogu Ifa worshiper, whatever it is. Because we have so much that it's uniting us, and we are not. And one of the things is that the politicians that we have today who are doing so well in giving us bad governance, in truncating our nation, they have their own problems. They come from different tribes. They come from different religions. They come from, all sorts. And I like the fact where it was mentioned, where they talk about those tribe and tongue may differ. Even though they differ, you were able to get good governance, accountability, and transparency, so you don't bother about the tribe. These politicians, they differ in all of these things, but they are able to unite when it comes to their common interests. And as long as the citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or whatever number of nations we decide to break into, as long as we do not realize that we too should unite when it comes to our common interests and leave the whatever it is that we have aside and focus on that common goal, we will continue to be where we are, where probably years later we are still talking about the same thing. So we need to get to a place whereby we are using our problems to unite ourselves, solve those problems, and then we can face other things. Let's upgrade our problems. I mean, my parents were fighting over just the right to live, fighting over 24/7 electricity, fighting over good housing. I am here today fighting for right to live, fighting the same fight, 24/7 electricity, good. I don't want my children to come and fight this fight again, or my grandchildren. They should have sophisticated fight. They should be fighting for things like bees to have flowers to pollinate. They should be fighting things like, climate change fight. Not fight. The youth of Nigeria should not be fighting today that they should be allowed to live. They should be fighting for things like climate change. So can we come together and ensure that we give this sophisticated problem? I must say that whatever we do is the fact that we need to be part of governance, whether it's at the federal level or whether it's at the regional level, whether it's at the state level. Every one of us, we must be interested in politics. We must ensure that we are doing that. And one of the things that I would say, let's not forget that the legislative arm of government, it's actually that's the major landmark of democracy. And we need to get people with competence, character, capacity, courage, patriotic people into those legislative arm of government so that they'll begin to give us the right kind of laws that we need to get. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call some people who are raising up their hands to ask questions. I'm taking this opportunity to tell those of you on YouTube to please share. I'm going to call Mr. Julius. I see your hands up. Please ask your question, Mr. Julius. No further information. Mr. Julius, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Aisha, Aisha Yesufu. I mean, I admire you. I admire your intellectual robustness. I admire your courage. You're just one in 1,000 women, and we need more like you. Now, I want to give credit to the other two speakers. Pa Adebanjo and my other father, I forgot your name, Pa Ayiloge. But let's go
to the question straight, yes. So others can ask their questions.
Now, the question I'm going to ask, maybe just a little background. Until we hit the nail, the nail on the head, we're just wasting our own time. Now, the thing is, I summarize the problems we're having into two: religion and this
What
white.
is your question, Mr. Julius?
Okay.
Spending up your time on analysis with one question.
Just one more minute. Religion and white supremacy. Even if an illiterate comes from Europe or China or whatever, an average Nigerian still believes is superior. Not only in Nigeria, they are doing the same thing all over Africa. This, the other one is religion scam. What are you going to do to really make sure? I'm not going to task you on the other one, which is this white supremacy. Because, you know,
so
what are you going to do?
Religion, what can we do?
What are you going to do to make sure that you educate our people to stop listening to this religious scam that has destroyed the North, that has given these people the opportunity to grab the land of the Hausas?
Okay,
and
okay, thank you, Mr. Julius. Yes. Sister Aisha, Yesufu.
So I've gotten that if you're taking questions from the other, can I get like more people to ask then so that I'll go ahead and answer
yes,
them?
That makes more sense. Straight to the question. No analysis, question, so we can finish on time.
Yes.
What's your question?
My question is, the problems we have now in Nigeria are oppression, mass kidnapping, abduction.
That's not a question.
I want to ask her how what she's going to suggest, to overcome this problem. So I want to list them so she can answer the question specifically. We have assassination of people generally, dominance of the Fulani in government, lawlessness, injustice, terrorism, banditry, tribalism, insecurity, Fulanization, Islamization, organization of Islamic nation, registering Nigeria as one, and you have fund diversion to develop neighboring countries. No border controls in the north. All these
Mr. Balogun, we are going to lose track of your question. So bring up the question again and let's go.
The Southerners say, haven't looked at all this. They want out. They want everybody to manage their territory, their nation. That's the point I'm making. Thank you. So
I'm going to take another question so we can put all of them together. And this is from one of our elders also. Babadipo Akinshiku. Yes, you are here. Okay, you are on, sir.
Okay, yeah, Mrs. Yesufu, you spoke earlier about if the country should break into various nations, that people will come with the same problem now that is common among the present-day Nigerians. And I want to ask you, what are your views regarding the presidential system of government that we are running now, comparing that to the Westminster parliamentary system? You also talk about money in politics. The presidential system encourages corruption and money in politics, because if you want to run for the president of Nigeria, maybe you have to start 4 years in advance. And in between that time, in order to be able to be competitive, you need to raise a whole lot of money. But when you compare that with the parliamentary system of government, election usually, even in Great Britain, which is one of the best democracies in the world, election takes about 4 weeks, about maybe 2-3 months, they could organize election. And it is publicly financed. You don't have to raise a ton of money in order to run for office. So I'm asking you now, what is your view or your preference, either the presidential system of government, which is very expensive, and which also encourages, it doesn't promote accountability. And also, my other question is this idea of Sheikh Gumi negotiating with bandits and terrorists. He recently said that in order for the raping, killing to stop, the Nigerian government must actively negotiate with all the bandits and even Boko Haram. What is your views on that? Your view on that? That's it.
Okay, hello. I think we have enough questions for me to be able to answer the first round of questions, and then we'll come back to talk about it. So I will start. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I'm going to start with the first person who sent in the question on the issue of religion, and then white supremacy, if I may call it. On the issue of religion, I have said that the biggest problem we have are our religious rulers. And I call them religious slave owners because they are not leaders. Back here in Nigeria, religion or people's faith has also been weaponized, just the way the politicians have weaponized illiteracy and poverty. People have, or the faith of people have also been weaponized, and their hope. And I said the other day, the people we have today in the religious sector, they need people, they need the bad governors. If you see them, they are in cohort with our politicians. They work hand in hand with our politicians. They need the bad governors so that they will be able to sell cheap miracles to people. Today in Nigeria, if you get a job, it's a miracle. If you have 24/7 electricity, it's a miracle. I've seen people who their transformer was fault and they were busy praying instead of going to repair their transformers. You find out that people who are sick, who their sicknesses could be cured by good quality healthcare system, they are being told it's a miracle. And I said the greatest miracle that we have on earth today is the brain that God has given us. God has given us brains so that we will use it. But we have people who want people to believe that the things that happen, you don't get a job, they will tell you it's an enemy. People are always fighting enemies, always killing enemies with their prayers one way or the other. And it has gone on and on and on. It is left for the people. And one of the things that we kept doing is to talk. I say to people, if I look at the United States of America today, and I remember Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was a pastor. Malcolm X was an Islamic scholar. These are religious leaders who were there with their people in times of need. If you come back to what we have in Nigeria, we have religious slave owners who are as selfish can be, and I do not mince word, and anybody can quote me anywhere, and I say without water in my mouth, if I might use my Edo palace, then I enter pidgin English. That these are people who are selfish can be and only take up issues when it concerns them. I will give you a few examples. When the issue of karma came up, the karma bill, can't remember the way the company and allied match, I can't remember the name of the bill now, but it's something that had to do that affected them. We saw the religious people speaking out. Recently, there has been Twitter ban, and a good number of our religious rulers have actually spoken out. Because why? It also affects them. They have Twitter presence that they use and all of that. They use that in their worship. But you do not see that same energy when people are being killed. You do not see that same energy when people are being massacred. And these are supposed to be shepherds of flocks. So you see them when they have all of this bad governance going on, they are able to say to people, oh, come, people, after NYC, they will carry their NYC to their pastors, to their malams, to their babalawo, or whatever, for it to be blessed, for them to get a job. So that's how they say. And then when you get a job, you come and do Thanksgiving, that you've gotten a job, you probably bring tithe. Some of them will ask for your full salary. It's certain thing for salary, and it goes on and on and on. And then because the people are also lazy, the people want to abdicate their responsibility to make demands. They give it to them, and then they go home and say, oh, we've prayed. Our pastors have prayed, our malas have prayed, our babalawos have prayed, our DBS have prayed, our brokers have prayed, whatever it is, and then they move on. So yes, it's a major problem that we have. But then it's all about talking and enlightening people and creating that awareness. And more young people are get to the extent it has been done in such a way to an extent that they're no longer even interested in religion. A lot of young people aren't. You find out that Nigerians who are in Nigeria who are so religious, when they go to other parts of the world where things work, you find out that they are not as religious as they used to be. Because for some over here, they think it's all about transaction. You know, you're giving to God. Hello? Hello?
We are with you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something.
No. Just laughing.
Oh, okay. So you find out that it's not so where you're praying for 24/7 electricity, you're praying for job, you're praying. Some people even look at getting a visa as miracle. You don't need to do that where there's good governance, there's accountability, there's transparency, things are being done properly. So where our mates, we are still here praying for mundane things, where our mates are praying for inner peace and having a relationship with God. We are here still busy asking for jobs and all of that. So it's part of it. It's a major problem that we have. And like the other time, there are certain trees that I did. I said, look, there are people who, and that also will get me back to that question of, I think along the way, there were questions that were asked of what do we do about all of these things. The second person who asked the question, all of the different things that are happening in Nigeria, is for citizens to come out and make demands. And there are certain religious rulers today that if they call for protests, real protests for our nation to work, they can get over 30 million Nigerians on the streets. But guess what? They won't do it because good governance is not in their favor. Good governance will mean that the thing that they are telling people is miracle will no longer be miracle. Good governance will mean that the thing that they are telling people that they are enemies of each other, they will no longer be enemies. So they aren't doing any of those things. In terms of, the issue of supremacy, white supremacy, in our own context where people always feel that the moment it's foreign, it's more important or whatever, sadly, it's part of the things that we experience even in our country. You come to Nigeria and Africa, you're being oppressed by people who come from abroad. You go to their own countries, you're also being oppressed over there. It's sort of like beyond the fact that of an inferiority complex where we seem to think that, things from outside are always better. But for the people that we have in power, one of the things that have kept it going is that for most people, they find it is better for them to have something to do with people who are not Nigerians, to foreigners, because it will ensure that the money they will eat will be more. So if you are eating one naira and you are eating $1, the $1 is more. So they want to eat more of those money. So they will do everything that they can to ensure whatever they do, they give more preference to anybody who is foreign. As a Nigerian company, you might not get a contract, right? But somebody else from will get a contract, especially if it has to do with something that they will end up having a way that they will make it, they'll be able to eat more money from that this thing. I mean, if it's a 1 million naira contract and $1 million contract, of course you know which one we go through. The failed Air Nigeria, and it was in Nigeria Air, they called it. When they were going to do the logo, they said they went abroad to go and do logo for, is it $300,000 and something or something like that? I'm not sure of the figure there, but then it was in 6 figures. But meanwhile, we have a lot of Nigerians who can design logo, even if it's for free. Even if they had said, okay, Nigerians, design this logo for free, we'll choose whoever's. There are some that will willingly do it. There are some that you pay small. But then the money that they're going to, they won't be able to eat that much money from there. So it's better to go there. So that's where it's not as if, it's a supremacy of wit or supremacy of intelligence or something, but it's just because of that corruption that keeps going on. And as you go along, it enhances that. So of course, when they see an Oyibo person, they know, there's possibility of along the way, we'll be able to make more. And this is part of the things that has caused the problem we have today, where people are not invested. We don't have a nation. There's no nation in Nigeria. There's not even a country. I think Chinua Achebe said there was once a country. There's no even country anymore. There's no nation. We've never been a nation. We've always been our different region. And that's the reason why, even when it comes to, and this is going to take me to the next question. I think he spoke a lot about, Islamization of the nation. When I hear the word Islamization of the nation, I laugh. When Buhari was coming and they say he's going to Islamize, I said, has he finished Islamizing his family that is going to Islamize the nation? Buhari, I will tell you, has never, in his 6th year of governance, has never in any way associated with Islam. or carried Islam on his head. If you say he carries Fulani on his head, bam, I will give that to, but not Islam. It's even Osibanjo that said that he is a pastor on loan to Nigeria, who today is not behaving like a pastor. So in issue of Islamization, I don't know where that comes from. And I think one of the things that many people do not see, and I'll share an experience with you. Recently, somebody said, I think some few weeks ago on Twitter, somebody that I know very well, and who I know, there are some people who will say these things, I won't even be bothered. I know, of course, they have their biased mindset. But there's somebody that I thought was objective, and he did a tweet where he said, oh, they are not, why is it that in the north, they are not killing the northern Muslims? It's only the northern minorities that are being killed. Somebody else will make that statement that I feel on a normal day, some people are just, they don't want to say. But for him, I felt that, and I said to him, except you're not seeing when they're being killed. They are being killed. And he was like, oh, give me an example. And I sent several examples to him. Even recently, I sent examples to him. The thing is that people are saying this Islamization, and I don't understand what is that Islamization of. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim minority from the southern part of the country. And I know what it is to be marginalized. And I know the kind of positions that my people will not get because of their religion. Whether we like it or not, it happens. And of course, there are people also, my Christian minorities who are being marginalized in the north. It's an attitude that goes across the nation, whether the south is, the only region that I will tell you that is different, and I've done this tweet before, is the southwest. It's in the southwest that whether you're Muslim or you're Christian, it doesn't matter. You are likely to get whatever position in an equal dose. It's southwest where that's why you find that they don't fight over issue of when it comes to religion per se in that way. Of course, I'm not saying there are people who are extremists in all ends. But you see the northern part of the northwest and the southeast, the south side, it's there. If you're not part of the religion of the majority, everybody is marginalized. But it seems as if there's this thing that goes on where people look the other way when Muslims are being killed and they think that, oh, it's not them, they kill each other. 88 people were killed recently in is it Kebbi? Yeah, Kebbi State. They are Muslims. Killed by so-called Muslims, right? The president didn't say anything. But nobody calls it against Islam because the president is Muslim. But the terrorists do not care whether you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're a woman, you're male, whatever tribe, they don't care. They are killing everybody. But we, the citizens that are being killed from all over the country by the same people who are terrorists, who are bandits, whoever the religion, the tribe they know is terror, we are the ones who are segregating these deaths into different parts. We look the other way when certain people are killed. And I call it religious bias. There are different biases. There are people who have religious bias, administration bias, political bias, whatever it is. Religious bias, when people that are not part of their religion are being killed, they look the other way. It's only when people that are part of their religion are killed that they come out. There are people when Christians are being killed in southern Kaduna who they are not being killed because they are Christians. They are being killed by the terrorists at that moment, whether they were because they are on that land or whatever, whether they were Christians or Muslims, they would have been killed. But when this minority southern Kaduna Christians are being killed or banned or whatever, some people will not look, they look the other way, they don't bother because they are Muslims and then they feel that, oh, Christians are being killed, I don't need to talk. Then when Muslims are being killed in Katsina, in Niger, in Kebbi, or some other people will not talk because as far as they are concerned, they are Christians. Muslims are being killed, it doesn't conduct, but it's only when they kill their religion that they come. I call those people, they have religious bias. You have people who have administration bias. Who we talk about Chibok, some people talk about Chibok because it happened during Jonathan, but we never talk about that Dapchi abduction or Kankara abduction or the recent Niger abduction because it happened during Buhari, whom they like. Some people will never talk about Chibok abduction because it happened during the person they liked, Jonathan. But they will talk about Dapchi abduction. They will talk about Leah Sharibu. They will make demands for Leah Sharibu. They will never make demands for Chibok, even though majority of Chibok are Christians. But they will call Leah Sharibu and say that, oh, Leah Sharibu is because she's Christian. And you ask them, what about Chibok that are also Christian? Why are you not making demands of them? As far as they are concerned, it's about administration bias. They love that administration and they will never say anything bad about it. So when we are talking about this, so I don't get it. Students have been, over 200 students have been taken away from an Islamia school in Niger State. Is it Tegina they call the place? 200 people, all of them are Muslims. The president is Muslim. Probably the people who carry them are Muslims. So what are they Christianizing them? What is it that they are doing? We must stop this thing of trying to categorize when deaths are being done. This injustice is being meted out on everybody, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your economic status, irrespective of your educational qualification, irrespective of whatever it is. And so we must call these things for what they are. Our government has failed us. And this government has, and Buhari is failing not because he's a Muslim, but because he's an incompetent president. The same way Jonathan failed, not because he's a Christian, because he's an incompetent president. In 2014, many people from the north said that Boko Harams were Christian militias. Many people from the north said that the reason why Boko Haram was happening was because of the Biafra war, that it was payback time for Biafra war. Many people in the north say that the Boko Haram killings, no, it was not Boko Haram, it was Jonathan that brought in snipers. And I remember I used to argue with people, even on my Twitter page, it's still there, the internet keeps record. There was a tweet I said to people, I said, look, even if these killings are happening in the Niger Delta region, Jonathan will not be able to do anything because Jonathan did not have the capacity. And I tell you today again, if the same thing, the killings in Katsina State have worsened. Katsina State is the most insecure state in Nigeria, and I say that, and I how do I say what I'm looking for now? People can prove me wrong. I tell you today, Katsina State is the most insecure state in Nigeria today. The terrorist activities in Katsina is unbelievable. The poverty in Katsina is unbelievable. Yes, Katsina, the president is from Katsina. If the president was biased based on religion or tribe, is it not his people that should be enjoying? Shouldn't Katsina be the most secure place? When Kankara abduction happened, and I said to people, the thing that for me was the major thing was that Kankara abduction happened the same day that the president went to his state. It happened in Katsina State. Katsina State is, that's where Kankara abduction happened. There was even another one, which is other one that happened again after that Kankara, right in that same Katsina. The president was coming into, he went into his state, he went to his hometown, he entered the state. On that day, that night, they went to Kankara, they packed students for hours, they traveled with them on the roads for hours, and they took them away. And many Nigerians did not understand the significance of that. I said to them, I said to a lot of people that care to listen, for the terrorists to dare, our president and commander-in-chief was in town, yet they did not abort their activity. You would have thought with all the insecurity in Katsina State that as soon as the president and commander-in-chief enter, everywhere they should be on watch. Everywhere should be on like military, they should be watching security watch so that any movement. But yet these people, it's a few hours drive from the president's place. They were able to pack away students for hours. They were able to work with them for days. I think 3 days took them to Zamfara State without anybody intercepting them, without anybody doing anything to them. That said everything. They knew that we didn't have a president and a commander-in-chief. There was so much failure and nothing was going to be done. So all these abduction and killings that have happened in the north, in the Muslim state, what are we going to call them? Islamization. Is that also a re-Islamization? Because I need to understand. So when you're looking at the president, take away his whatever tribe and whatever, and look at, it's about his incompetence, it's about his nepotistic attitude. I'm entering the second question now, where you say a lot of people have been put in power. The people that have been put in power are their what's the word I'm looking for now? Are their cohorts. They are from the same circle. It's not the Northerners. There are competent people in the North. They're not, the Northerners are also being marginalized. But there are people from certain groups, the Kaduna Mafia from the 1960s, the, what's this place? Where did he work? Is it, no, it's not called APC, PTF. The PTF people from, and then his cousins, his relatives, his in-laws, that's what he's putting in power. But somebody sits there, I from the Southern part, we say, oh, the North are enjoying. But guess what the North are saying? They are also saying that, oh, the president is not doing anything for them. He's only doing something from the South, for the Southern people. And the other day, I even did a tweet and I said, look, The Northerners are looking at the Southerners and saying that Buhari is doing everything for them. He's not doing anything for the North. The Southerners are looking at the Northerners and say that he's doing everything. Can we people not sit down and say that Buhari is not doing anything for anybody other than himself? The only person he's doing things for are himself. And that's what it should be. And instead of being united in calling him out, we're busy separating ourselves into imaginary compartments that are not there. MFNA is the central bank of this. Which part of the country is he from? As far as they're concerned, he's doing their bidding. If they say he should jump, he asks them how far he can jump, and he jumps. Even before they even ask him to jump, he's already jumping. They don't care. They will put him there. Yes, we've had situations, certain this thing. If you look at the military, whatever, the president has so much divided the state in. Most, of course, he's somebody who he's not that enlightened. He doesn't have a wide range of friends. Most of his people are either those within that house. So not some people call them Fulani. Most of them are not even Fulani. Most people look at the North. Anybody from the North, they call you Hausa Fulani. No, there are many people from the northern part of the country. They have different languages and all of that, different religion and what have you. It's so if we look at it from the point of view, he's putting his own people, not even the region. Everybody is being affected in terms of the incompetence that is coming from the president. There was the second, he asked a lot of things that what are the things to do about the lawlessness, the lack of development, the assassination, the lack of good governance. What we're going to do is simple: hold government accountable. People must hold government accountable. If you do not hold government accountable, nothing is going to happen. Buhari lost power so much. If you hold him accountable, he will listen. In the early days of his administration, he listened. When you protest, he listened because he was afraid of the people. And then the people made him to understand that he didn't need to be afraid of them. Where people keep saying that, oh no, you don't have to listen to the people. You are the president. Who are you to make demands on the president? People will look at me and say that, don't you know that the president is old enough to be your father? Why are you calling him incompetent? Why are you calling him clueless? Why are you calling him corrupt and everything? I'm like, I didn't vote for him to be my father. Neither was he voted to be my grandfather. He was voted to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if he cannot be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then he should leave. And I see somebody who said that, oh, the Buhari is doing something for the Fulanis and the North. The Northerners are also thinking the same thing, that Buhari is doing things for the Southerners. He's not doing anything for anybody. That's what I want people to understand. The level of poverty, the most insecure region in the country today is the Northern region. The poorest region in the country today is the Northern region. People are being taken away like no man's business. People are being attacked. Let me tell you one of the stories that recently came out of Katsina. A woman went to her daughter had given birth, you know, Omugo, the way you go for Omugo, right? She went there. The bandits came in. They raped the daughter who had just given birth, collected the child, gave the mother, raped the mother, daughter who had just given birth. After raping the daughter who had just given birth, they raped the mother who came to look after the daughter. It happened in Katsina State. In Katsina State, the bandits will come, they will kill people, they will rape daughters and mothers in front of their fathers and husbands. It's happening in Katsina State. Is Buhari Islamizing, is he re-Islamizing Katsina State? We must understand that this thing is happening to everybody. So it's not a northern or southern, it's everybody collectively suffering. You know, Buhari went to commission this, the Lagos-Ibadan railway. I saw one person who I see, you know, educated and everything, is a lawyer also. He just put it out and say, they too, they are waiting for somebody that will come and help them develop this North, even if it's a Yoruba person. So because the North also are saying that Buhari is only doing things for the South, forgetting that Buhari isn't doing nothing. Once in a while, you put out certain building, you check how much has been spent on those buildings. So in terms of all of these things happening, we must hold government accountable. It's not a few people coming out to protest. Nigeria does not need more activists. I don't call myself an activist. I call myself an active Nigerian citizen. Nigeria needs active citizens. People must come out to make demands on their government. Where is our professional bodies? And NBA, fantastic. They've been doing, since with this leadership, they've been doing quite so much. NBA, NMA, ICANN, whatever it is, the engineers, whatever, however, they must come out. teachers union, ASU, all of those are professional bodies must come out and make demands for Nigeria. It's not only when it is time for salary or increment or minimum wage that they come out. The trade unions must come out and make demands. The student unions, individuals united together must come out and make demands and let this government know that, look, you can't keep doing this to the people, otherwise these assassinations, the killings, the banditry, the kidnapping, I'm sorry, it will continue to happen. And like I said to people, we are all victims to waiting to happen. Yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and tomorrow's victims would be today's survivors. The question always is, who is next? People think that it will not happen to them because they pray. I said to them, the people that it has happened to, they also pray, and it happened to them. And we are all victims waiting to happen. Sadly, in Nigeria, being a victim is no longer a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because the victim card is going all around and it's falling on people. And I think that takes care of the second question. Then I come back to the third question, as in what's my opinion on the presidential, what are my views on the presidential system? Personally, I prefer the parliamentary system. In terms of being cheaper, you have it's first among equals. The president is also a member of the parliament. And you find that the ministers, they are all members of the parliament. It's not this one that you have, and it's less expensive. It's not this one that you are not carrying different ministers to come and then they are like appointees. I mean, even if the president, yes, as the winning party, the ruling party, if the president decides to make you a minister or you've done something, the prime minister decides to make you a minister of one way or the other, and you do something and they remove you, you still meet in the house. You still meet where you're coming for debates and all of that. So personally, for me, I prefer the parliamentary system anyway. And then people are able to hold certain people more accountable. You hold your MPs wherever they are. You hold them more accountable. You know where they are. And then there's always this government, like you have a shadow cabinet all the time. You have a shadow government so that who are following one after the other. And they actually have shadow cabinets so that you're following, even if there's change in power, you seamlessly go into it. But then the main issue is that even if we say the parliament, it's not as if the presidential system doesn't work. Yeah, it might be expensive, it might have its own system, but we've seen the United States. And I always say to people, can we look at what happened in 2016 and 2020 to look at our state also and say, okay, what are we doing? In 2016, the Americans voted in somebody that they never thought would happen. For us to know that it's the kind of people we put into power that matters. And what happened? When they saw the mistake they had done, they all came, even people that had never voted before said, this thing, we need to change it. So we need to see that beyond the system, it's not just, it's the kind of people who are in office. If we have a parliamentary system, places like Kenya, they have parliamentary system, they still have this massive corruption and all of that. They still have the bad governance going on. So it's not really about the system itself, it's about the people who are in the system and what is allowed for them to do within the system. So you saw what happened with the presidential election of in the US. They did it, by the time the people, yes, even institutions that were strong were being weakened. Because we have a lot of things that are convention. They've not been codified. Because in a lot of places, you assume that, okay, people with integrity are going to be the ones in power. So there are certain things that, even though it's not codified, even though it's convention, that people will do the right thing. The Americans saw it. They brought in somebody who was not interested in doing the right thing. We saw things we never thought could happen in the United States of America. We actually saw them happening. And what did the people of the United States of? They were all on the streets, most times marching. They were making the mass. People were holding on their own. And at the end of the day, when election came, they ensured that they came out en masse and they voted out that person. Why are we not doing the same thing? Why are we bringing in sentiment? Yes, in 2015, Jonathan's administration was failing. It needed to go. And so people came in and voted Buhari. 2019, Buhari's administration was failing. It needed to go. It should have been voted out. If you had voted him out in 2019, what is happening, what has happened in 2020 and 2021, it won't be Buhari, it should have been somebody else. We need to get to that place where it is not about sentiments for us. Whoever comes in, you're not doing right, vote the person out. And this issue of people saying that, oh, okay, now it's worse. People are not serious. You can't say, oh, it's worse. You vote the person out. It's not to say that, oh, because it's going to be worse, so you will not change the person, you will reward the person's incompetence, the person will keep going. We have a unicameral, a bicameral system. I think Senegal, it was that turned its bicameral system to a unicameral system, where we have the National Assembly, we have two arms of the National Assembly. Yes, the UK Parliament also, they have a bicameral system. They have a parliamentary system, right? They also have a bicameral system, which we also have, but they are able to manage their bicameral system their own system where you have the House of Commons and the House of Lords. But over the years, they've been able to check it, checkmate it, do things. The House of Lords used to have so much power until they made it in such a way that the House of Commons, because they are the elected ones, they were given more powers. Go to a place where the House of Lords could truncate bills that are coming in, and they pass the House of Lords Act, whereby they set a limit to which the powers they can do, they can no longer truncate it, they can only do it within a particular period and so on. That's how you change and you grow. As you're in a nation, you're growing, you're changing things. We send in people to the National Assembly who do not know anything. If you go to the US, the US too, they also have a bicameral system. But yeah, it's working for them. You have the Senate and also the what's the other one they call it? It's not House of Rep, their own representatives. So it's not really for us, it's not beyond the system, it's the kind of people we put into office. We don't put people with dignity into office. We don't put people with integrity into office. We don't put people who are patriotic into office. We just feel that politics should be done by hoodlums. So anyone that comes goes in. And for people who today sit down and they sometimes blame the National Assembly, I say to them, did you vote for them? The people in the National Assembly know that if they had not won the tickets of either APC or PDP, they wouldn't have been in the National Assembly. If they had run under other parties, they wouldn't be there. So their loyalty is not to you, the people. Their loyalty is to the people who gave them their party tickets. The day we want the National Assembly to work is the day we begin to be the ones to vote for them. We'll be the ones to determine who goes into National Assembly, irrespective of what your party is. If we are waiting to say that, oh, we can only vote these two major parties, people will say, I don't want to waste my vote. I can only vote APC or PDP. Hey, now, you voted for them. Now they've gone in and they don't have respect for you. They have respect for the power brokers that brought them. And so that's the way it will continue to be. So beyond just the system, personally for me, parliamentary system is the best system. It's more engaging. People you can hold. It's more grassroots kind of system. You see what is happening. I love that particular system. But the way it is, we still have people who have parliamentary system who it is not working because the kind of people that are put in, because the rule of law is not allowed to happen, because that separation of power and everything, we sort of like do it this way and that way until we begin to respect the rule of law, separation of power, good governance, accountability, transparency. It's still the same thing that we still keep making the same complaints on and still keep getting the same bad result. Because for me, one of the things I'm always a very pragmatic person. I don't like romanticizing things. It's not just, oh, if we change to this, it's going to change. Even if we change to parliamentary system today, it's not going to change anything. As long as we do not change the kind of people who get into office, as long as we do not change the mindset of the people to know that they are not supposed to serve the people in office, the people in office are actually supposed to serve them, we still have the same problem. Whether we run a unicameral system or bicameral system, it can reduce costs, it can do a whole lot of things, but it still also comes down to the kind of people that we have. And then on the final question that I have there, which is about Gumi negotiating with terrorists, my view on that, Gumi talking about Nigeria negotiating with terrorists, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely, absolutely not. We cannot negotiate with people who have unleashed terror on our land, who have killed, who have maimed, who have destroyed our country. We will go after them, we will annihilate them, we will go with them with the might of the Nigerian state. And that's why we are expecting leadership from the president and commander-in-chief. The president and commander-in-chief has failed failed totally in his primary responsibility, which is the protection of lives and properties. This is somebody that was voted to secure the nation because of his history, his antecedents, supposed antecedent in the military and everything. And then it's something that, you know, just goes on and you're like, oh no, we look the other way, and then it's not. No, it shouldn't be. The president, the buck stops at the president's table, and that's one of the things that we must absolutely hold the president accountable for that. And so there's nothing like negotiating with the president. There's nothing like doing any of that. And then we continue to do that. For the person who said there's a question about the Islam, why is Nigeria a member of the Islamic world if it's not Islamization? I don't see that as Islamization. If Nigeria wants to leave it, feel free. There are all different sets of organizations out there. And if the Nigerian government wants to leave, if the Nigerian people feel that they need to leave it, they need to leave it. What value has it brought to the country anyway? Let me tell you something about the person talking about Islamization. Is the fact that we are so biased, and most times we don't look beyond our bias. We need to look at things objectively. Recently, I always don't know how they pronounce. Is it Uruguay, or I don't know? I'm always missing the pronunciation. These Muslims that are being persecuted in China by China, they are being killed. They are being put in concentration camps and all of that. But guess what? Nigeria was part of those that signed in support of China. US, France, UK, and others, they wrote a letter to the UN condemning the acts of China against the Muslims in China. But states like Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, whatever, they supported China in it. So what Islamization are we talking about here? These people, it's all about their interests. It's all about where they will get money. It's all about what they want to do. It's just like when it's Sukuk loan that was taken from, you know, from the bonds that were taken where the interest is small and everything used to develop. At the end of the day, it's about money. It doesn't have anything to do with Islamization. I don't understand. I need somebody to actually explain to me what this Islamization is, because I'm not seeing it. Probably because I'm Muslim, that's why I'm not seeing it. And then I need somebody to actually sit me down and explain to me, and then tell me when those people, for example, the Islamia students that were taken away, because since they are in Islamia school, we know that 100% of them, they are all Muslims. One of the children that were taken away, some of them were very young. When they started working, they couldn't work, and so the terrorists allowed them to go. One of them is a 3-year-old, and the child has died from the trauma of it all. 2 mothers so far have died. When they received the news, they collapsed, and 2 mothers have died. There is silence in Nigeria right now. The president is a Muslim. They are all Muslims. They've been taken away. So tell me, what is it? Which Islamic agenda is it? Where people are being, or it's you know, people look the other way. Let me give you an example. In 2018 or 19? I'm not sure now. Please, so that's the question. If there's association of Christian nations, Nigeria should register also. Let Nigeria register there. Damilola, let Nigeria register there. And that's why we have all of these members that we have at the National Assembly. If there's, the way we have the Islamic nation, if there are Christian nation, let Nigeria register there. We have almost like 50-50 nation, both Muslims and Christians. And then if we have the non-traditional religion, the traditionalist, whatever countries, let's also register. These are not people. You take all of this and with so much focus on them. For me, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what you practice. It's your personal business. Every one of us, we're going to be in our.
Mrs. Yesufu, can I just come in there?
I'm going to Baba.
I'll still round up on this, because I see most times, you know,
there are other people that Baba Akinshipu. Okay.
Go
ahead.
So let me just round up on the whole thing. So for me, that's what I see. So people are focusing on all of these other issues. Fantastic idea. If we have the Islamic nation, that's one of the things that should be raised. We should have. Nigeria should also be part of the Christian nations. It's the way it is. Form alliances, form whatever it is that needs to be formed. But one of the things that I feel for me, which is not useful for us all, is when we look at these different days. Okay, I remember, and something I wanted to raise before. In 2000, I can't remember the year precisely, Hawali man is one of those that was abducted in Iran. She was abducted in Iran when terrorists attacked the, what do you call it now? When terrorists attacked the a place in Iran where an IDP camp and all of that. They wrote a letter. The terrorists gave the federal government warning that they took away 3 aid workers, Hawali Man, Sefura, and then what's this her name again? Is it Hawa Ngalal? I can't. And Sarah. These 3 workers, aid workers, were taken away. They wrote to the Nigerian government and said they were going to kill them in 30 days if nothing was done. The Nigerian government did nothing. Sefura was killed. Sefura is a young Muslim woman with kids. She was killed. 30 days after that warning, they killed Hawali Man. And you know, it's almost as if it's normal. And then you find some people who will come and say, oh no, they are not killing Muslims. They are not, no, they are killing everybody, whether you're Muslim, you're Christian, whatever it is. And on the issue of the constitution, you know, somebody is saying to me, oh, it's only Islam that is in the constitution. We have a National Assembly that comprises of Muslim, Christians, and traditionalists. Can we call on them and say, and right now, even this constitution, we've said, Nigerians have said they don't want this constitution. I don't want this 1999 constitution. I want a new constitution that is truly that of we the people. Can we now ask for a new constitution? Let's all put our voices together so that we ask for a new constitution that will be that of we the people, and we will be able to write all the things that we want inside. All the religion should be taken out of it, or all of them put into it. And one of the things that I always want us to remember is the fact that the religion we have in Nigeria, the religions we have, it's not just Christianity and Islam. There are other religions, and every one of them also has to be recognized. That's my stand. Everybody has to be recognized and seen as truly important, because at the end of the day, we're all human, and people's choices are as valid as every other person's choice. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call a new set of questions, and we're going to have just 2 more sets of questions. So the first person that I'm going to call for this one, Mrs. Zulfa Suara, our councilwoman from Tennessee. You are on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you, Sister Aisha. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you for, I've just been listening to all the questions and your answers. There's nothing for me to add to it. Mashallah, you did awesome. But what I wanted to ask you is about the work that you're doing with the youth and the involvement of the youth. And you spoke a lot about the US and getting people to be involved in politics. In the US as well, we do have voting apathy, where people don't feel their vote matters, where people don't think their vote counts. And it takes a lot of education and mobilization for people to come out and see what is going on, that they do not like to vote. So in Nigeria, there's this perception that the apathy in Nigeria, it's not just in people's mind, that at the end of the day, it really does not matter who you vote for, because at the end of the day, people will put who they want to put in government. Or even if somebody wins, they might even not allow it. We've seen the case of Abiola and some recent ones. And so how do we, knowing that there's corruption in the election system, the voting is not secure, there's voting security, how do we encourage, as we're telling people this is something we don't want, this is a change that is needed on all levels of government, as we here can threaten people and say, if you don't do the right thing, we'll vote you out. People know that's true in the United States, because we can't use the power of the people to do that. But in Nigeria, is this, in your opinion, and it could be that because some of us are in the diaspora, maybe that's an erroneous or a wrong perception. Is this a true perception to start with? And if it is a true perception, how do we correct that structural change? How do we make sure that we do have a system that when the people do want to vote and they do want to change their leaders, that they are able to do so? Because until we are able to do that, how do we get people to be part of that system? And I think that's what we need to be talking about. All the other stuff, I will say, like you rightly said, talking about the religion and all of that, it's a way to divide us. And it's a way to make sure that we're not paying attention to what matters. But how do we pay attention to the election? and making sure we have the right people, and our election at the end of the day does count. So if you can speak to that, I will appreciate it. Thank you for everything that you're doing. It's a great honor for me to listen to you and to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want me to bring in some more questions?
Yes, yes,
so
please. Yes,
yes,
yes, please. Yes, please.
yes. And by the way, Sister Sulfa Suara, you know, she's the first Nigerian woman to get American FBI award for her role in helping our youth in the United States.
Oh, great to meet
We are
you.
always very, very proud of her. I'm going to call Prince Adewale JP. Please go straight to your question, and then we can merge everything together. Prince Adewale, you are unmuted. Please ask your question. Prince Adewale.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. Nice meeting you, Madam Aisha Yusuf.
Thank you, sir.
I want to say more, but because I was instructed to go straight to the point. Madam Aisha, do you actually believe, because most of your talking are based on unity, people united, voice out together as one voice. Do you believe if people come together and vote for an agent to operate under 1999 Constitution, do you think that agent will perform? Because there's a lot of hindrances in that Constitution that make it impossible for the agent to perform. And as long as we still operating under that Constitution, there is no way out. Take, for example, election of, I think in most states or somewhere like that, I don't remember, while a valid election was conducted and the person win, and later it was overturned by Supreme Court. And all this is made possible because of 1999 Constitution.
Okay, I've gotten the question. I can't hear him anymore.
Did you finish your question, Prince Adewale?
He's still speaking. Maybe he's muted.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
okay,
maybe
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard the question on the 1999 Constitution.
So I believe that 1999 Constitution will never give anybody room to operate.
Okay, let's give our guests the opportunity to answer the question. Can I add one more question? Can I add one more person and it will be three questions?
Ahead. Make the person go ahead.
Okay. Alagba Tobala Kran.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go straight to questions.
Mine is not actually a question. So I don't know.
We're taking question now, but I'll give you half a minute.
It's not a question, just a comment. If that is okay.
Make it just half a minute. Let's go.
I'll try. First, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to thank Aisha for being on the platform. I think I raised up my hand when somebody was talking about religion being a problem. I put it in the chat. I said religion was never our problem. So we need to understand those are signs of a decayed system, or maybe a failed government, but those are not the problems. And I said it to say that I went to school in ABU, and I was a Christian. I was the leader of my fellowship. My own roommate was also the imam of the same hall that I lived, and we coexisted together. And as of today, most of my friends are still people that I went to school with. They are Northerners, they are Muslims, or all those kind of stuff. Even in my own family, we do have a like, and I'm a Christian, so we coexisted. So religion was not the problem. The issue of system of government too was never the problem, because If you ask a common individual, they don't really care about the system of the government. They don't know what system we're practicing. All they want is for the government to deliver. So I see the problem of Nigeria to be law and order. Once you just take it on that level, that every, as a Christian, we say the soul that sinners shall die. So if you go by law and order, that it doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, once you commit an offense, you get punished, and everybody will rise up to it. So all those issues that we see, they're not really the problem. It's about, and she rightly said it's about the people that are running the system. If they run it very well, definitely we'll be able to enjoy the dividend of so-called democracy that we signed for. Thank you.
Thank you, Alagba Woli Lacran. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's go to the question, Sister Aisha.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to start with that of Mrs. Zulfat, Sister Zulfat there, where she talked about election and then whether the myth or that election do not matter in Nigeria, whether it's so, and if it's so, what are we going to do? That votes don't matter. One of the things that I'm going to say is that votes do matter. If votes don't matter, politicians will not be buying votes. Politicians will not be desperate for votes. So it's a lie that is being told, and sadly, a lot of people are believing those lies. Let no one believe that lie. What is being done is that when they sell this lie, they ensure that the people whose votes cannot be bought, they are sort of like disenfranchised from actually coming out to vote, and then they have all the rooms to be able to manipulate and then weaponize those people who are poor or who are illiterate, and that's exactly what is happening. Before I go on to continue on that question, because I think most of the people here are in the diaspora, and for me, at every platform that I've been opportune to actually have conversation with Nigerians in diaspora, I say to them, what are you doing? The Nigerians in diaspora, what are you doing? You have so much, you contribute so much to the economy of Nigeria. Every year you remit billions of dollars. You contribute about 4% of the GDP of our country. Recently, we saw the central bank doing something called, is it naira for dollar? For every dollar you receive, or for every that you receive from abroad, they will give you certain amount, because they are looking for you to remit your money, but you do not have any political power. There are about 15 million Nigerians in diaspora. These are Nigerians in diaspora whose identity are known, who have means of identity, who can be counted, who cannot be intimidated by police, who cannot be intimidated by DSS, who they cannot unleash hoodlums on, who can vote. And by voting, they can change what happens in this country. And I've said, for 2023 election, if you're going to make any headway, the youth and the Nigerians in diaspora, those are our is it trump cards, they call them? They will be our aces that we're going to hold. But then what is being done? So there is a need for Nigerians in diaspora to be able to vote. In 2015, when this present government, they were seeking for election, they promised they were going to do something about it immediately, about Nigerians in diaspora voting. It's been 6 years that they've been in office, and it's not even part of what they are talking about. There is electoral amendment that is going on right now, and this is part of the things that we raised. We need to see Nigerians in diaspora be able to vote, because at the end of the day, they cannot buy your vote with 500 naira. 500 naira is about $1. And I don't still see any Nigerian diaspora, except my people will talk say they don't cost her for heaven. You're not going to sell your vote for $1. So they cannot send DSS to come and intimidate you. They cannot send thugs to come and carry the polling, what's this called, ballot boxes, or drive you away, or shoot, or kill, or maim. These are the things. So it is not true. You've seen the violence that they continuously unleash. If this violence were not unleashed, you know what? If this violence were not unleashed, many people will be able to stay there, stand their ground, and vote. But they unleash this violence in a way that people will run away. people will not come out to vote. People will say, oh, votes don't matter, they will stay at home. Votes matter, votes count. In this times that we have with the card reader and everything, in 2015, we had a very very free and fair election because of the card reader. And many people knew what the card reader was. Unfortunately for us, some politicians went to court, and that was a Wike from Rivers State that went to court, and then the Supreme Court ruled that the card reader is not admissible in the courts. And because of that, okay, we went back to the issue of the violence. In 2018, when the president refused to sign the electoral bill, I did a video. I think I did several videos, and I said all the opposition parties should come together and resist this. They should be on the street protesting. They didn't. They didn't. And of course, at the end of the day, we all saw what happened. Without an electoral amendment, without electoral bill that gives us free and fair election, it's going to be a problem. There's going to be more violence. If the card reader is not admissible in the court, if you cannot do electronic transfer of result, then what will happen? I see somebody saying an amendment is distraction. I don't know whether it's the electoral amendment he's talking about or the constitutional amendment. The card reader, the electoral bill we need a new electoral bill that is ensuring that people get free and fair election and they can do it. So if people can vote in terms of whether it's electronic voting, diasporas are able to vote, will we have more? Imagine the last election, presidential election, the president that won, the president did get up to 15 million votes. So imagine the power that comes with diaspora voting, and not just voting. You have a circle of influence like all of us. The people you send money to, the people that are always calling you to demand for your hard-earned dollars. You work hours, you're always working so much, yet you have to remit so much back home because you have to pay people's bills, pay people's school fees, pay people's health bills, but then you never make demands. You don't ask them who they are voting for. You need to begin to have input into who they are voting for. What political choices are they making? Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, whether in Nigeria or US or any country, our political choices affect our nation, affect the economy of the nation, affect the security of the nation, affect every part of the nation. And so because of that, people must be mindful in the choices that they make and in doing those right choices. And so for me, I'll see pass it back to the Nigerians in diaspora. Please lend your mind to the electoral amendment that is being done. The National Assembly is refusing to pass that, have that bill passed. I remember I was there at the public hearing in December where the Senate president made promise that the first quarter of 2021, they're going to pass the electoral bill and then wait for the president to give assent to it. But it hasn't been done. And we need all the voices that need to be put out there. We need all the pressure for us to be able to get this electoral bill. So in terms of votes do count, votes do matter, they matter. That's how politicians are doing everything. And what they normally do is that they ensure that people whose votes cannot be bought, they sell this lie to them. The greatest fear I have of the 2023 election is the fact that violence, you see the way that they are unleashing violence to this thing, the way they are unleashing violence on protesters, they're going to do worse probably when it comes to the people that are going to vote. And so that's the reason why we need an electoral bill that will be passed in such a way that even when you have violence being meted at, it will not favor whoever it is that unleashed that violence. That was why in the 2015 election, there was less violence because the card reader, people thought it was admissible in the court until the Supreme Court ruled. And I don't know what kind of ruling the Supreme Court did to do that. There are different ways of ruling to look at something you could use purposive method, is it the mischief, whatever they call mischief rule, golden rule, whatever. I don't know which of them that they couldn't just decide that these were some of the things that the people who passed that act were going to pass. But here we have this problem that we are all now battling with. And I think the youth are understanding the fact that they have a right to vote, their votes matter, and we need to all work towards all of that. Otherwise, we just keep going around in circles, and we need political activism now. So for me, politics is about whether you're running for office, campaigning for people running for office, doing what they call fundraising for those running for office, or you're making demands for those from those who have been voted into office. We must ensure that we are doing one of them. Then coming back to the issue of the question that was asked by Prince Adewale, do you believe if an angel is voted and they perform? Yes, we have a 1999 constitution that is defective, but it's not solely the reason why we are failing. Excuses are like shoes, and we'll always find the one that fits. And if we keep making excuses, come 2020, whatever, if we get a new constitution today and we put in the wrong kind of people, they are still going to fail, and we're still going to make excuses that the constitution this way or that way. The thing with no doubt about it, we need a new constitution in Nigeria, and that's part of the things that people have been asking for. So a new constitution is needed. And when people are asking, why is this? I see Damilola have been sending different messages coming in. Why is this not there? Why is this not there? The thing is that, Mr. Damilola, the 1999 constitution wasn't done by the people. It was done by the military and handed over to the people. It was done by a certain set of people in one room. And so a lot of people are saying this constitution should be set aside. That's what the agitation that is on now. There's already an amendment, constitutional amendment, and the people are saying to the National Assembly, we do not want an amendment, we want a new constitution. The National Assembly has come out to say that yes, it does not have the power to amend because it's not in the constitution. We know that. And I saw the Deputy Senate President being clever by half. Being clever by half in saying that, oh no, why are people who should know better demanding for a new constitution when it is not there in the constitution for them to have the power to amend it, to call for a new constitution? That first of all, let's do this amendment, then they will now come up. The thing is that, yes, we all understand that we all understand that the present constitution that we have today, one, it does not give room for referendum. Of course, it should give room. People should be able to leave. People want to leave. Let everybody be on its own. And let me digress a little bit to say, I think contrary to what some people think, that there's any region in Nigeria that will not survive because of the other region, that's not so. Every region in Nigeria has the capacity to be a great nation. And every region in Nigeria is very blessed. From the north to the south, to the east to the west, the lands, the mineral resources, the population, the innovative method and all of that is the bad leadership that has kept people, in one place. So coming back to the issue of the Deputy Senate President, I was talking about the fact that certain people who should know better are actually asking for a new constitution. What we are saying is that what the National Assembly should be working on is a single amendment to amend a part of the constitution to give room for a new constitution, and just focus on, instead of trying to amend several things, no, just amend that portion that gives you a right to call for a new constitution. As soon as that is amended and you're able to pass all the legal requirements to get the assent to it, then we call for a new constitution, and then get people, both the National Assembly, the Nigerian people, different groups, whatever, call for a new constitution to be put together. When this new constitution is put together, we then put in the right kind of people into office for them to do the right thing, and therefore people to hold them accountable. If we're just sitting down and saying that, oh, the 1999 constitution is our problem, guess what? We will change the 1999 constitution. If we still keep putting the same kind of people in, they will still do the same kind of nonsense, knowing that they can get away with anything. There are people who are not holding them accountable. It's just the same way that when we're sitting down and say that, oh, let's divide into different states and this thing. And then you find out that you will end up dividing into different regions, different states, whatever. The same problem, you are packing those same problem along.
Odùduwà ò fọ́tẹ̀ tún ṣe nìyẹn kò sóṣì kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ ọmọ onílẹ̀ fẹ́ ló lẹ́ o.
Nigeria. And so we've never even tried what we say it's not working, but it's so easy to say that, oh, it's not working. And I see Elizabeth talking about let us go military. I'm sure probably Elizabeth, because maybe you don't know the military era, or maybe you've forgotten how it is. If you go through the military, this kind of conversation we're having, we probably might not be having it, because they will gag everything. There's nothing romantic about military. Even if I think, was it Winston Churchill that said the worst form of democracy is not the best form of government, but there's not any other one that is better than it. So we try it as it is. Having a voice as a citizen is very important. We can call out our National Assembly and all of that, rather than us sitting down and just seeing decrees coming out from nowhere where we do not have a voice at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our time is fast spent. Other people that are okay. I will take this I'm going to take the last 3 questions. If it is short, if your question is not short, then I won't be able to take it because time is gone. I promise Sister Aisha that it's going to be 2 hours. Now we are almost 3 hours. So we've got to cut our loose at this point, but I will take these last 3 sets of questions. Baba Adenin Adeboye, is that a question? Baba? Professor Adenin Adeboye. Professor Adenin Adeboye. Okay. Kolawole Sule. Mr. Kolawole Sule.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, now, ask your question, please.
Okay. Sister Aisha àti Mama náà sọ̀rọ̀. My question straight is this. How do we hold these people accountable? Because they don't allow anybody to do or get into their affairs, which is the same thing as trying to let diaspora to vote. You said it in your talks that these assembly people won't do it. They don't because of what they are getting there. So how do we go about it? What's the solution to getting people to make them accountable? Is that question good enough?
Yeah, yeah, it's a question that you wanted to ask, and alhamdulillah, I'm happy that you are able to ask that question. Baba Benjamin Esan, what is your question? We're going to merge everything together. Baba Benjamin Esan, please, we are going to questions, straight away to questions. All right. Okay, please unmute yourself. It's not from me. Baba Benjamin Esan, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Well, while you are still trying to find out, Gbode, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Short
question.
Thank you, Mrs. Aisha Yesufu. I have been following you from far off, and I am impressed by you. So
thank you, sir.
I have 2 questions for you. The first one is that we need more active women. What is your role in getting more women involved? Then the second one is this. From all the analysis you have made, have you not seen it that Nigeria cannot be won again? Then if you have seen it that Nigeria cannot be won, why is it that you cannot spearhead that agitation for the South that you have on? Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Elizabeth Olagunju, ask your question. We are going to take 3 questions at a time. So grouping the questions. Mrs. Olagunju, unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear
Olagunju?
me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, my question is why is the northerner, why are they holding on to Nigeria when others want to go away?
Good.
Okay.
Excellent question.
All right. Okay. So we have those 3 questions.
Hello.
Baba Adeboye, is that you?
That's me. You keep me muted, but you call my name anyway.
I did not mute you, but so was that a question? Are you trying to throw in another question, Baba?
I'm trying to throw in another question. The only question that I have. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Sister Aisha, can we add that one to the 3 questions?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Professor Adenira, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yesufu. I just want to be clear that we are not blaming the victim. The victim in Nigeria is the ordinary person who, as you agree, is not necessarily equipped to understand the mechanics of democratic processes. The issues at stake.
Wake up now?
Can you hear me?
Power, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
So when you have a system that is already rigged into who can vote, whose vote will count, even if it is the illiterate that doesn't understand anything that is selling the vote because they don't see the loss in it, he or she is still a victim. Good governance is a function of several variables. The fact that you make one variable good enough does not secure good governance. If you change the constitution, by itself, it doesn't make for good governance. If you have a very educated electorate, it doesn't make for good governance. What makes for good governance is to take a system that reduces the abuse of all these other forms of use. In other words, yes, the current constitution does not allow us to correct the anomalies in the rest of the structure. So how do you get out of it? It was rigged in 1914 to do what it is doing, and it has developed phalanges that are difficult to handle. Why choose presidential system, which is going to frustrate any way of correcting any other ill? That is why some people are crying for the parliamentary system. Why do you talk about Islamic whatever? Every Fulani that is put in power in Nigeria, the people who are not Fulani and who are not Muslim see that person as Muslim only because he or she answers Aisha Yesufu. Nobody knows that Aisha Yesufu is not Fulani until you say so. So in principle, choosing everybody from northern region is perceived in southern Nigeria as choosing Muslims because of the name. Those are realities of our lives, and the realities are realities even if they are not true, because that's what people think is true. That's what they know, which is not the same thing as what is true. If you want to correct the system, you insist on ministers and all of these other people being chosen from a cross-section of the country. Then some of them will be Imafidon. Some of them will be Adeboye. Some of them will be Ogbonna, and so on and so forth. But if you choose everybody who is Fulani, then you are actually choosing Muslims. It doesn't matter that most Muslims in the north don't have an opportunity to be chosen because they are not Fulani. So we want to really address the analysis carefully enough to see that what we have now, a presidential system that allows one person to make all the decisions, is frustrating any manner of good governance. And that's what I want to say. And thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, and thank you for bringing that.
I have muted myself.
Hello.
Okay, Baba. Let's go first. We are going to go back. Sister Aisha, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much for pointing out that. I think it's one of the points that I didn't even remember to actually make it. where many people just assume that every Fulani is a Muslim. No, there are a lot of Fulani Christians, there are a lot of Fulanis who don't even have any religion. And the moment they see some of those names, they almost automatically. I remember the last time where Buratai, somebody was making a session to say, oh, every one of those people was Fulani. Buratai is not Fulani, it's Kanuri from Borno State, and it's so different. But it just comes to talk about the kind of suspicion that we have in our country today,
What's his
based
first name?
on the fact that there's so much lopsidedness in terms of the things that are happening, and the kind of system, the kind of people that we have, and what they have been able to do. And in the last few years, it has really worsened. And I think so. Let me go back and take the questions. I see them coming. Some of them, I think I saw them that have been written down. I just noted them. It's especially the ones who think that military is better than, like somebody said, than this rubbish. I think that's the way she put it out there. I think that was Elizabeth. And I think it's always about, we try to romanticize things a lot, where you talk about, I don't know what the military has done that really, if there's anything that has taken us back more than anything, it's been our military years. There are some countries that have been able to have a military that has really helped them, put them on track and set them up. But we, unfortunately, we haven't. All we have had are militaries who have destroyed system. The educational system that we have today that has been destroyed in some was actually done by the military, coming in terms of doing all sorts of things, removing vice chancellors here, changing this, putting this, just doing all sorts of things. I mean, many things that have been destroyed, our institutions that have been destroyed have actually been from the military, our collective wealth that have been wasted. Even when Gawan was president, we had somebody who actually understood what statesmanship was, what leadership was all about. If we had the kind of person that the leader that Dubai had was the kind of person we had in person of Gawan, we would have gone quite far. But we had a president who was so myopic, and all he thought about was the fact that, oh, Nigeria was so rich that his problem was not money, but how to spend the money. And you had all of that Odoji era where people were just, wasting money anyhow. There was nothing about, we're doing instant gratification instead of delayed gratification, and we're here. And so all through the years of the people who have gone through so much atrocities, who felt so much, I mean, you talk about the Ogoni massacre, Kensarowiwa and co, just out of nowhere, being sentenced to death, and before you know, all of them were killed, during Abacha and all of that military era. And as a child, I first witnessed military when I was 10, and even up to today, I still have goose pimples looking at the people that were being beaten anyhow. Up into my adult years, I had to deliberately I suffered PTDS, like every other Nigerian that watched soldiers beating up people. I can still see the vision of a fat man with his meat being thrown in a vehicle, beaten up by military people being made to swim in gutters, people being treated anyhow. And so when you hear Nigerians who are trying to romanticize this thing, hey, I think one of the things for me, I would say, is that let's not be lazy. Let's not be lazy and thinking that, oh, is this thing that will make it work? No, it is you and I that will make it work, and you and I haven't done the work we're supposed to do. And as long as we don't do that work, nothing is going to work. Thinking, let the military come so that I will sleep and things will work. Oh, let this system be done. Whatever system is there, whatever kind of this thing we have, as long as the citizens do not deliberately work, the people do not work for this thing. And when I'm talking about the people, I'm not talking about the poor. On this case, I'm talking about those of us who are privileged enough to be educated, those of us who are sort of like the elite. We have a missing elite. We have an elite that is missing and selfish. So let me give you an example. The elite that thinks that when there's no good quality education, they send their children to private school, they send their children abroad. When there's no good healthcare system, they go to private hospitals. When there's no good roads, they contribute money and build roads to their estates. Where there are no good housing system, they have their estates that they live in. Where there are no good roads, where there are no transportation, of course, they have their cars. Where there's no electricity, they buy generator and they fix the problem of electricity, and they have electricity in their houses. the elite that has been able to take care of everything, and they live in a vacuum in Nigeria or abroad. They feel secluded from the suffering that is happening. They live in a bubble. But guess what? The bubble has been busted, because now that elite is facing insecurity that the Constitution has not given them the power for them to be able to take care of. Probably if we had private security outfits that are able to carry guns, they will be able to secure themselves. But right now, because the security is in the hands of government, and the government has failed, and it's affecting all of us. So when I'm talking about the people, I'm not talking about the poor who have not been given the right to education. I'll still talk about the issue of the votes and all of that. So until we do the right thing, we are doing the needful, we're not going to get anywhere. The Europe that we are going to, that we are living in, the US that we are living, the West that we are living in, all of that, go into their histories. It was people that had to fight for it. The United States of America, with their constitution and everything, in the 1920s, 1930s, it was the mafia that controlled politics. Corruption was very, very rife. In the United States, as a policeman, if you were not collecting bribes in the 1930s or whatever, you were the one that was laughed at. You were the one that was ashamed. The Hoovers of the world that came and put the FBI together, it was people. People had to stand for their countries. They went through all these things they were going to. So I don't understand why we try sometimes to romanticize this thing as if, oh, there's one magic word that everything will. No, it's hard work. It's people coming together and working, and we must put in this hard work. For those of us that are in the United States, look at that history. Before, it's only the mafia, only few people could tell you who was going to get into politics, who was going to get into office, and they called the shots, and everything was upside down. Even in the years that we're going, this insurgency we are going through, terrorism we are going through, the United States the United Kingdom went through their own with the IRA and whatever, with the Northern Ireland. These bombings, I was growing up as a child and I was hearing about all of these bombings, all of this, they'll put bombs here, they will do this here. Countries go through their problems, but people solve them. You don't abdicate your responsibility. You don't keep praying to God. You don't keep saying, oh, this is what we make it happen. This one is better. What have we done to make what we have now better? That's what I'm talking about. What have we done as Africans? We're still looking at the father. Oh, in colonial era, they came to do this. Yes, all of that has happened. We cannot change that history. There's no how we are going to wipe away time and say, let's go back to when our parents were tying these, or they had their small huts or whatever, and then we start life from there. This is what we have today. So what can we do with what we have today to get the kind of nation that we are looking for? And it involves every one of us making our work. When I see people say, oh, one Nigeria will not work. Nigeria can never work. We will do this. You know what it is? It's a lazy way of getting out of things. Because when you say it will not work,
why must you remain in it?
You free yourself from doing the work. When you say, oh, this thing will not work, by the time we share Nigeria was in regions before we went to the federal system. There was a reason why we had to come to the federal system. There were a lot of people who were being marginalized. I was part of the West, but like I said, so even up to today, I'm an Isako woman. I am still a minority amongst minority. We look at certain states and say, oh, certain tribe or whatever religion have never ruled this state. But there are other places where certain states or whatever have not ruled. I've seen a southeastern state where they say, as a Christian from a certain denomination, you can't be a governor. I think, was it 2015 election? There was one thing they were doing. They were like, oh no, it's a Christian state, oh, but you are from this denomination, you can't do this. All of these things go on. There was a reason why there were people who felt marginalized when it was done region, because the major tribe has subsumed the smaller tribes. And that was why we came to this federal system, where at least everybody here, we are all different states, we can all have our voices. But then we are all sitting there and say, oh, let's go back to this. When you say it can't work, what you do is that, yes, so in that way, you don't have to do anything. After all, I've said it will not work, so I don't need to do any work. But when you say it will work, it beholdens on you to now do something about it. And people don't want to do anything about it, so it is easier for them to say that it cannot work. I don't have a problem with people who say Nigeria cannot work. I don't have a problem with people who say one Nigeria cannot work. But you know what? Can you please let me be? I say Nigeria will work. Let me put in my own thing. Because you can't say it, you know, work, and then you are jumping in the faces of people who are saying, oh, it cannot work, it cannot work, you are not doing anything. People, it cannot work. Thank you. Sit where you are, have fun where you are. If you are not in Nigeria, have fun. If you are in Nigeria, have fun. Those who say it can work, can you let them be and let them try what they try and let them do what they want to do? If it doesn't work, fine and good. If it works, fine and good. It's like somebody being born. I have never gotten anything on a platter of gold in Nigeria. I've had to suffer everything. When I was looking for admission in 1994, ABU Zaria, I will go every day to the front, and for months I will go to the offices of people, of almost the principal officers there. I will stand. People that had lesser results than me, they will come. Their parents will bring them. They will go in. They will come out with admission letter. I didn't, because I didn't have leg. And to today, that's the reason why I hate leg. I didn't do it. I was told I can't get the admission. I was told I can't get it. I stayed on and I got it. All my life, I've been told I can't get it. I stay on, I fight. I was born poor. I go to spend the morning without breakfast. Coming back, I wasn't expecting lunch. I grew up in Kano. I grew up in a place called Kwanahudu. Most of the people there were thugs. Most of the people were hoodlums. In short, anybody from Kano, when they hear the area we are from, they are scared of us. Parents didn't want their children to associate with us because we are from the wrong side of the hood. It's just like when you talk about Ajegule in Lagos, I call it the Ajegule of Kano. People said, no, but what? I didn't believe them when they told me that I cannot make it in life. I cannot get out of the ghetto. I cannot do it. I work my way. So I'm used to not getting anything on the platter of gold. So I don't get this so much drive. If you say Nigeria will not work, can you be doing what it is so that Nigeria will separate? You can't say Nigeria will not work and you are sleeping at home. Call your National Assembly members. Tell them to start the process of separation. Everybody can go there. Somebody who say, oh, the North are calling for separation of Nigeria. Groups that are saying Nigeria should be separated. So can we now with a National Assembly member? That's why the people that are going to carry national for them and let them do it. I saw IPOB in 2019 said to their people they should boycott the election. For me, as far as I'm concerned, that was one of the most foolish decisions that could have been made. Instead of boycotting the election, why don't you put your members to be governors? You would have 5 governors, 15 senators. How many state or House of Rep members, how many state of... So when you have all of these people at the national level and in governance, they cannot be calling the shot and say, oh, let's separate. Imagine today if the governors in the Southeast, the governors in the Southwest, the governors in the South are calling for separation. There will be more voice to it. You cannot be calling for separation in our different rooms or where. No, make it, there has to be legitimation to everything. Let these people put it. By the time the state houses of assembly are passing for Nigeria to be separated or whatever, or calling for the amendment or the result, whatever, we will get it done. Just say it will not work and going home to sleep. That is the problem. It will not work. Can you not do the work that will make it not to work so that we get on and move on with it? I think those are some of the things that we are going to be looking at. So let me come to the question of this. Okay, I think it was Mr. Kolawole Sule that talked about how do we hold the country accountable. We hold the country. There are different ways of holding the country accountable. One of the simplest way of holding the country.
The government.
Of holding the government accountable is, first of all, the biggest one is during election, by voting out any government that has failed. The moment people that were elected into office do not do the right thing and you vote them out, guess what? The parties will now begin to field candidates for you, good, right candidates. If you reward bad behavior, then bad behavior will continue to happen. We have leaders who do not have the incentive to be able to do the right thing because they are not being held accountable. So they know that even while they fail or they do not fail, they will come for election and they'll be voted for. Many people will not come out for election. Let's look at Lagos State. What's the turnout of Lagos State? I think Lagos State has the highest number, between Lagos and Kano, they have the highest number of registered voters. But look at the turnout. you're seeing turnouts of less than 30%. Sometimes in the 30s, less than 40%. People are not coming out. People would rather stay in their houses and be watching TV, watching movie, watching Premier League, doing all sorts of things rather than coming out to the election. They even be laughing. They don't want to come. And then they do not realize that it affects their lives, it affects their security, it affects their wealth, because economic policies are going to be made by the people in office. So the biggest way of holding government accountable is actually by voting them out when they do not do the right thing. Then beyond that, while they are in office, I think there's an Alison. I think it would be nice if we keep the comment respectful and we talk as if we are people who are this thing. I'm not your problem here. I'm not elected. That's why I haven't served. And I'm here because I want to be. So I think that animosity should be directed to the people that you've elected. So whether I live in, I'm Alison in the Wonderland, it's my right to be there. And I think, and you know me, I'm an area girl. I'm ghetto bred. And if you want me to carry and go left where I feed one, you can meet me on my platform. But I think in everything that we do, we should keep it respectful.
Yes.
I'm not here because anybody is paying me to be here. I'm not serving anybody. I'm not a public servant. I'm a private individual. And that's why I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. So please kindly keep it there. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. We have a right to our different opinion. If you think Nigeria isn't going to work, fine and good for you. I think it's going to work, and I'll continue to do my bit to make it work. And if it doesn't work, so let it be. I just needed to put that out there because I see some of the comments that are coming in as a day here. So I feel this place where you feel like this, so I feel sweet charm. Anyhow, I feel go get to I praise not be small thing. As you see me like this, I always talk and say all of us get there for psychiatric because we don't forget this English when we speak. You carry and go area matter. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So in terms of holding the government accountable, the next thing, of course, is people speaking out. People forgetting whether this person is from my religion or not. People dropping fears. You see our professional bodies. Where are they? You cannot have a protest of you sit down at home and expect that, oh, there are activists that will take care of the protest. So these few people are coming out on the streets, and then the police are tear gassing them. The police are beating them. People will be laughing. Many people see what the government is doing now. They think that it started now. No, it didn't. Until when Osibanjo was the time that they said shrinking the civil. We bring back our girls movement. We were beating at the Unity Fountain. Nigerians, people applauded them. That they that bring back they feel bring back our girls movement was the reason why Jonathan was removed. But today it emboldened them. It emboldened the government, and today they are coming after every other person. So we cannot sit down and say we are only waiting for a few people to come out and protest. There must be, when you're holding the government accountable, in terms of our institutions, in terms of the trade unions, what do you call it now? The trade unions, the professional bodies, student unions, and citizens must come out absolutely, and hold government accountable. If there are protests, don't sit down in your house and say that, oh, there are some youths that will protest on your behalf. Nobody owes anybody advocacy. I've said that before. People must decide to be active citizens. People must come out and say to the government, enough is enough. You can't do this. The bill, this thing, where are even the opposition parties? You know, you see countries, opposition parties are calling for protests. In 2014, 2012, opposition parties were coming up, playing active role. Where are they in Nigeria today? They are just sitting down waiting for, when power will change hand and then it will come back to them. It doesn't work in that manner. So people must be ready to stand and make demands, not just when it comes to things that affect them. There's a high level of selfishness amongst people, a lack of empathy. People are waiting till when it's directly affecting either their salary or their health or something. That's when they will come out and begin to make the demands that they need to do. They need to be that uniform this thing to make demands. One of the problems that we've had in terms of one also way of holding accountable is recalling the people that have voted to the National Assembly or State Houses of Assembly. They are not doing well, recall them. But unfortunately, that hasn't really worked in Nigeria because the process is a bit cumbersome. And one of the things that they use, and I think which part of the electoral bill should be addressing, is that for you to be able to recall somebody, you need a percentage of the registered voters. And meanwhile, the people, maybe I think 50% or so, meanwhile, the people that vote most people into office, they are not up to half of 50% of the registered voters. So where are you going to get that? So what needs to be done? We need a situation whereby we still need to get, for example, let them say percentage, 50% of the people that voted, the number of votes you got should be what should be used to recall you. So that when this, especially people in the legislative arm of government know that they can't be recalled, what would then happen is that they would be able to now sit up. They will have incentive to do the right thing rather than incentive to continuously do the wrong thing. A different other ways, more enlightenment, let people know what their roles are, let people know that they are citizens, they are not slaves, let people know. In saying that, let me just digress a little bit to say to many people that, you see, the reason why Nigerians cannot hold their leaders accountable is because the first set of dictators that Nigerians came across were actually parents. There's no democracy in our houses. We don't allow our children to talk. We don't allow them to say anything. We shut their mouth up. Oh, come on, shut up. Where elders are, children don't talk. You cannot talk. You cannot have a voice. And these children continue. They went to school, the same thing. You cannot talk where your teacher is talking. In short, if you go out of the note your teacher gave you, teachers will punish you. Who told you to bring this? And so they grew up into adults, and they simply replaced their parents and teachers and adults around them with government. And so they feel that all their lives, so whatever form of oppression that the government is meting out on our people, they've seen that oppression in their houses before. They've seen it in their places of work and everything. So it has continued on their way. So we need a lot of, orientation, a lot of back home changing. We need to begin to demonstrate democracy within our houses. We need to allow our children to have different opinions from us and also be able to express that opinion. And that's why you see, I find it a lot when it comes to public discourse, a lot of people are unable to actually share their opinions unemotionally. You see people getting angry, people making it personal. No, it's about putting out your points. I grew up in a home where I could argue with my father. We could sit down for days, we were arguing. All that matter was points. And my father, whenever I had superior argument, he agreed with me as far back before I was 10 years old. No, Daddy, I don't agree with you. This is not I will actually look for books. If I go to school, I'll look for library. I'll go and look for books, so newspaper, whatever. I'll write out the points. I will come out and say to Daddy, Daddy, you see, I was telling you, Daddy, look at it, look at this newspaper. So I grew being able to dispassionately argue. I can't be angry. I can't be what is to put my points out there. So these are some of the things that are going to happen. But these things are going to take a long time, right? These things are going to be so much, and we don't have that much time. So what we are going to do now is that every one of us, we must become teachers. Every one of us, we must use our circle of influence. We must talk to people. We must educate people, political education. Every one of us must learn political education. We must be politically literate. We must see, like the people who sell ugu, our security men, the people we buy suya from, the people we meet on the street. We are not enemies of each other. We must drop the generational hatred. Forget what they told you about another tribe. Every tribe has its fair share of bad people, fair share of criminals, fair share of whatever you can talk about. It's not about tribe or religion. Drop all of that. We must begin to talk to people, not in a condescending manner, but as equal. If I'm going to buy suya, or somebody that is selling granola, she's on the floor selling banana with her tray on the floor, I can sit down on the floor with her. Whether there's salt, I will look for newspaper, put it down. If I don't want to stain my cloth, I'll sit on it. Hey, madam, this. We will talk about politics as in sister to sister, sister to brother, 1-to-1, as equals. Not that I'll be talking, it's not you people that you say your vote. No. Never in a condescending manner, because we are all equals in this. And so what has happened is that we have a missing elite who have abdicated their responsibility by not voting, and they allow the people who do not have the education to be the ones to make choices on our behalf. Guess what? They're going to make wrong choices. And so it's very important for us all to keep looking at these things that we're going to do, the long-term one, the short-term one, the low-hanging fruits, the long-term things. And one of the things is that if we're going to get our country working, our student unions must come back. Student unionism that was killed by even the people who were the ones who were student unionists ended up killing our student unionism. I saw when Lagos State VC the other time was removed, and nothing will happen. And you know, that's what happens when you kill all of these things. So these are some of the things that I think that we are going to do to keep on that, and let citizens understand their roles as citizens, that we are supposed to make demands. Even like now, one of the things that has really happened is that social media has been democratized, you understand? So, because, social media has democratized media. And so every one of us will have a voice. We see what is happening now. Nigerians, they did a Twitter ban, and we had to all use VPN. I use VPN to be on Twitter now. And what that has done is that it has ensured that the unintended consequence that have come out of it is that we now know that with VPN, we can send along all over the world. I do live videos, I do videos, I send them out. People can talk, we all have voices. You don't even have to be on the street to be making the demand. Let everybody come out, let the coming out, and then we are talking, we're making our demands, we're saying this is not acceptable. Silence is not an option, silence is not golden, silence is not a virtue. Every one of us, we must come out and begin to make those demands that we are doing. Mr. Chris talked about the role in getting women involved. For me, for us to be able to get the nation we are looking for, of course, and I think I can't remember the part that said it earlier on, that we cannot segregate 50% of the brains that we have, because the women are 50% of the population, and if you're not putting them in politics, you're losing. And many countries have shown that having women in power, having women in leadership role is actually smart choices, and a lot of countries have done well. With the COVID-19, we saw a situation whereby most of the countries that did exceptionally well were actually countries that were being led by women. And so we have Scotland, we have New Zealand, we have Germany, and the rest of them. You know, they were able to handle things so very well, and it's really important. And so part of the things they are doing, being there, talking to people, and just letting women know that, look, you can do this. Just be out there, just be out there and be consistent. But of course, there's so many things that have been weighed down. That are so many. How do I put it? The obstacles that have been put there for against women in terms of the money, in terms of customs and tradition, family members. A woman in politics is most times they're being called prostitutes, called all sorts of names, and what have you. These are some of the things that have really held a lot of women back. But quite a number of women are really working on getting into politics. And then most times, you know, this is issue of whereby it's the power brokers that are the ones that are putting people in office, and sometimes they end up using the choices that they feel are best for them rather than the one who is most capable. And Mr. Christopher said to me, have you not seen that Nigeria cannot be one? There's no country that is one. Even the US that you are in, it's not one. If it's US that you are in, the UK you are in, it's not one. The Scottish man does not see eye to eye with the Englishman. In short, if you call the Scottish man an Englishman, he's angry. If you call the Irish man does not see eye to eye with the Scottish man or the Irish person, neither does the Welsh. The Welsh were marginalized for years, for over 500 years. They didn't allow them to speak Welsh. They had to speak it in secrecy. It was last century that Welsh, it was made not to be a crime to speak Welsh. So there's no country that is one. When you think that, you think in US. Doye, thank you so much for that. I see when people are talking, oh, Nigeria is one. Where is one? You think which country in this world is one? You think France is one? Or you think Spain is one? The Catalonians that have been fighting and whatever, it's not one. UK is not one. The thing is that what you have, what you think, how do things work? If you ask me about region, I will tell you the regional this thing that we had before was the best way. Let the power at the center be removed. Reduce the power at the center. Let us have loose federation. Let the regions own their things. Not one region is being used to the money from one region is being used to service every other place. Meanwhile, other regions are keeping their materials. When the oil is done, they will go back to their material. The way they use the oil from Zamfara, from Delta State and whatever, but it's the way they should use the gold from Zamfara. So there's no country. So when you ask me, have you not seen Nigeria? Nigeria is not one. There's no country that can be one. What you look for out is what identity that you have. When you're talking about the American dream today, it's not that people are not being marginalized. If you go to the Native Americans, they will tell you how they are being marginalized. If you say the blacks, they will tell you how they are being marginalized. If you say the Hispanic, they will tell you how they are being. There's a dream. There's a place whereby, at least you know to a certain level, you are not going to be brought down because of this. If you excel within this, you are accepted. You do things together. That's what you want. The Nigerians that go to Canada because Canada, are they one? Do they see you as one there? Even while you are in US, do they see you as one? They don't see you as one, neither do they see you as two. But when you get there, there is an American dream, there's a Canadian dream, there's a British dream that you dream. So if you put in your this, you can excel. Nobody is putting that cap on your seal. Unlike our own whereby, if you put in your best and you are excelling, they will put a cap to it and bring you down. That's what we should be working towards. Not anything. And one of the things I say to people, I see a lot of people who are always like, oh, we'll leave Nigeria. For me, it's an option. No. Anybody that wants to leave Nigeria, please don't. I always encourage, I say, please don't stay. If you have opportunity to leave, leave. Those of us that want to stay are staying. Those of us that want to leave, will leave. But one thing I'll remind everybody is that wherever you go to, Nigeria will do you. I trust Nigeria. Nigeria will do you. Whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are outside of Nigeria, wherever you are. So it is in our own interest to ensure that things are working back home. The other day they talked about a German Nigerian who was on the day when he was going back to Germany on his way to the airport at military checkpoint, they shot him and killed him. He just came to visit. He has left Nigeria. He has jackpot. Did that happen? For those in the US, I don't know whether you heard about this. Is it Mr. What's his name? Nelson Aguda that was killed from Edo State. He and my husband were classmates from Fuga. After spending months in Nigeria, he was going, but he always comes to Nigeria. He spends like 3 months in Nigeria, minimum in a year. On his way back to the airport, along with Benin, on his way back to Lagos, he was killed. Many people, you will come. Maybe they will now come. There are some that have come. The day they were sick, they went to buy something. They bought fake drugs, and then the fake drug will be the thing to kill you. Or somebody now had an accident. For those in Canada, you saw what happened. Pius Adesomi before the tragedy of the plane crash that he died in. For those in Canada here, he had an accident. He almost died in Nigeria. Nigeria will do, even if you are there, you will hear about because you cannot carry all of us along. You cannot carry all your siblings. You cannot carry everybody. And I say to people, a Nigerian Canadian is different from a British Canadian or a French Canadian or whatever this thing, or a German Canadian. Why? Because when they see a British Canadian or an American Canadian, they will look at him and say, oh, he is there because he wants to. There's a Nigerian Canadian, they will see you finish, or Nigeria, America, or Nigeria, whatever, German, Nigeria, or Nigeria, they will say that you are there because you have to. Because you don't have a country that you can be proud of, that's why you are there. Even if that's not the reason. So the thing is that for you to also have the Canada that is civilized today was built by the people. And that's what I want every one of us to understand. The people have to be the one to push. The American independence was pushed by people who put their lives on the line and they were ready to die for their country, which nobody is ready to do anyway here. You can't eat your cake and want to have it again. They left their cake for them to be able to have this. So as a Nigerian Canadian, they will look at you and say, is it not that their country way war? And I said to people, Black lives will not matter until Africa gets its act together. This problem, it's all over. The Chinese, did they matter before the Asians? They had to get economic power. When they look at us, it's not the skin they hate, it's the lack of money in our pockets. That's what they hate. So it's in our interest for us to get our nation built. So for me, it's not about, for me, one Nigeria has never been sacrosanct. Like I said earlier, and I still maintain, and I've said every time, Nigeria can divide into 36 states for all I 36 countries for all I care, or 6 countries or whatever. I don't care. All I know that is sacrosanct is good governance, accountability, transparency, rule of law, separation of power, development, security of lives and properties, good healthcare system, good quality education. These are the things for me that are sacrosanct. So whether we are getting it as one, or getting it as 36 countries, or getting it as 6 or as regions, it doesn't matter to us. That's what I want us to get. And I don't have, it doesn't have to be Nigeria. So these are some of the things for me, when it comes to that question on whether Nigeria can be on Nigeria. The thing I also want people to understand that if you like, we'll go to whatever region, the same problem, you will pack that same people, those same problems, it will still be there. Because right now, what are the regions that we have? I come from the Niger Delta region. You look at the Niger Delta with all the extra money that I've got in the 13% derivative and everything. What has been done? Less population, not too many, but you go there, there is stark poverty. What has been done there? These are also all some of the reasons that we go back. Then let me come to this question of Mrs. Olagunju. She said, why is the Northern holding on to Nigeria, which others want to go away? That the same way you are agitating for other regions to go away, there are also people in Northern Nigeria that are agitating. But you know what? The people with the power to agitate, with the power of the legitimation to be able to put it to work, are not agitating. There are no, which of these, how many senators from the Southeast, Southwest, South are agitating for separation? How many governors are agitating? How many local government chairmen and councillors? How many state houses of assembly members are agitating for? It's just people that are talking different. And they want to, they've got out a statement that they want to leave too. So what I'm saying is this now, get the people who are in the who are in government, let's get them, let that be the main distance so that we leave. It's not to just say, as somebody said, the senators have been bribed. So who cares? But the senators are our representatives. So no matter what I say, I live in Abuja. No matter what I say, whether I want separation or I don't want, it doesn't really matter in the scale of it. It is my senator that is supposed to carry my voice. And if it's not carrying this voice, no matter what I'm saying, it starts all day. That's the reason why we all have to be interested in the politics, to be able to put in the people, the right people that will call for what we want to call it. If it's separation, let it be so. So the Northerners also are also agitated. I've seen quite a number of them. Arewa, different Arewa groups are also saying they too, they want their own Arewa Republic. But the thing is that there must be, it's not just for the people to be talking about it. You must get the people in offices to talk about it. And so 2023 is coming, and it is the best thing that can be done is for people to vote in people that are going to carry this agenda there and get it doing. And then the issue of the victim Nigeria, okay, I think the SADA said that we should not victimize the people. When I'm talking about the people, I'm not talking about the ordinary people. For me, yeah, they are victims. They don't have the education and everything. And that's why for me, I talked about the missing elite. And I said people must begin to take up that responsibility. The education that we have, I always say that we have, is not for us alone. It's for millions of others who didn't have the privilege to be educated. And so we must always speak for them. And then one other thing that in the last 24 hours, it's been something that have been going out since yesterday, going out through my head, where I thought about the fact that, when we see people who are selling their votes, they give them 500 and all of that. We looked at them, some of them are like, oh no, aren't they ashamed? I started thinking about it when I saw that video of people who were brought in to do a counter protest, people who were being brought in to do a counter protest. And so what I said was that between the politicians and the poor people whose votes are being bought, there's a quid pro quo. There's quid pro quo going on, something of value for something of value. So the people, the poor people, they feel like equal to the politician when they are selling their votes, right? They have something of value that they can give. And the politicians are giving them money and asking for something in return, which is their votes. But you and I, we help a lot of people, but we never ask for anything in return. We don't even look at them as if they have anything to give. We come from the point of the benefactors to their beneficiaries. And so we don't treat them as equals the way politicians do with them by giving them 500 and saying vote for me. We need to begin to look at that too, and also checking at the political decisions they are making and the things that need to be done about it. And so not just you two, what are we doing when you're sending money home? Are you talking to them? Are they holding their government accountable? And one of the things also is that why should the people even hold the government accountable? Thank God I had forgotten to raise this point when I talked about the question earlier. Why should the people be held? There are so many people who are playing government to them.
So there's no incentive for Nigerians to hold their government accountable, because when there's no light, when they cannot feed, they will call their fellow citizens. When they cannot pay their children's school fees, they will call their fellow citizens. When they cannot pay for their hospital bills, they will call their fellow citizens. Any problem they have, they will call their fellow citizens. But guess what? In the Western world, where a lot of people, others are, you can't call your fellow citizens to hold your government accountable. So we too, in a way, we are enabled governance that is happening, enablers of the behavior of many people who are able to not do anything, refuse to hold their government accountable, refuse to, then they will say, oh, they will come and meet you and send you series of tests, call you 10, 20 times a day, emotionally blackmail you and all sorts of things, and tell you that you have to be the one to help. It's also part of the problem that we have in the Western country. To knock on somebody's door and say, hey, my children have not eaten, please come and give me money. They are not going to look at you. Say, please give me money to go and pay for my for my school visit. So these are some of the things that are doing. And so how do we get out of this? Of course, of all the things that it's not about what is going on. It's about the fact that we must have accountability, transparency, good governance, strong systems, rule of law, checks are they have to be the things that all of us have. I see somebody wrote in here, 23 Damilola, I think that the Yorubas will not vote. So be it. If you don't vote, guess what? Some people will vote. Even if you send people that vote, they will send somebody to the National Assembly on your behalf. When the people in the Southeast said they were going to forget about the election, they were not going to vote. It didn't mean that people were not sent in. If you decide that you're not going to participate in election, well, other people will participate in it. They will send people to the National Assembly, state houses of assembly. They occupy these offices. You will not see the things you want. You will not see that constitution you are looking for, because at the end of the day, those of us who are not in offices, we have our voices, but we do not have the legitimation to get things going. It is these people who are in offices have this going. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sister. If you don't mind, can I take 2 questions more? One of our elder citizens, Baba Benjamin's son, I've just taken him, and Abiodun Olomola. If that is okay, Sister Aisha.
Oh, well, the way you put it, you say our elders, there's nothing I can do. But yeah, so let's take that. It's a bit this. I haven't taken it 3 hours.
Okay.
I've been talking.
I know. I'm so Baba. So can you ask your question now, Baba Benjamin's son? It's only question. If it is not question, time is gone. We can't. Baba.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Okay, I didn't mute you. You are muted already. Okay, ask your question. And then after that, Alagba Abiodun Olomola, and that's it. All right.
So I said she has answered my question that.
Oh, she answered your question. Okay, thank you, sir.
It's not easy to recall our legislators. So we have to force them out one way or the other.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Baba. Aisha, Abiodun Olomola, what's your question, sir? And that'll be the last one. Alagba Abiodun Olomola, you didn't unmute yourself. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm just coming on now. Thank you. Mrs. Aisha, you should partially answer some of my questions, but anyhow, I'm still going to ask them. Now, why is it that the North doesn't want Nigerian to be restructured? I mean the Northern Nigerian political elite. They are refusing vehemently that we cannot restructure. They are even pretending we don't know what we are talking about restructuring.
Okay, let her answer that question so we can do
that. And then let me quickly ask the second question, which this is the question I thought you partially answered. The question is the Southern, the Southwest, the Southeast, and the Middle Belt. They are saying we must change or we must restructure before 2023. Otherwise, there will be no election. But from all you're saying, you are not even, there's no resistance. From your point of view, you cannot see any resistance from that from those areas at all, because you are talking, the way I'm seeing you, it's as if you are assuming now, you are overlooking that resistance. You are assuming that, 2023 is a foregone conclusion. You're not looking at what the elites, the political elite in the Southeast, in the middle, in the South-South, in the Southwest and the Middle Belt are saying that if we are not going to restructure, if there's we are not going to change the constitution, that there will be no election in 2023. For you, that is not, from all you have been, all the way you have been asking this question, and from your projection, from my point of view, it's as if you are taking 2023 as a foregone conclusion that election will hold.
Okay, all right, let her answer that question. She talked about it now, but we still let her answer the question.
Nigeria, my country. In 2015, they said election will not hold. It seems as if people are forgotten. Every election is the same story. Election will not hold. Military will take over. I remember in 2015, I was on the street where we did election will go. Even the people, a staunch APC member at that time, there was somebody who they said, the elections will not hold in 2015. There was a lady who used to do a particular countdown to the election on Twitter. So, and I noticed all of a sudden she wasn't doing the countdown. And I called her, I said, why are you no longer doing the countdown in 2050? She said, this is what they said. They said this election is as if it should not hold. Jonathan was going to hand over to military. And I said to her, so they say election will not hold, and you are okay with that? And from that day, I stopped retweeting because she was not doing countdown to, was it New Year or something like that. These things is as if one of the things that I find out is that we don't pay attention. When things are happening, we think they are happening this is the first time it is happening. No, it's not the first time. It happened before. I tell you again, it's not different. Most of you people that were not on the streets, I was on the street 2014. I was tear gas 2014. I was beaten up by talks 2014. They said, police said they were going to kill me 2014. We did protest at the INEC, February 2015, we did protest. Police said they were going to shoot us. Most people who support, when people like government, they don't pay attention to what that government is doing. So people today will tell you that, nothing is happening, Buhari is not doing anything against this. I was on the street, so that's why I'm saying this. Let me start from this bottom question. So when you talk about restructuring, I was just looking at him, and when he was the last speaker, when he was asking that, I was just smiling. I said, restructuring, is it today? Was APC not talking about restructuring when Jonathan was in government? When the South-South and whatever, the South-South were in government, were they not talking about restructuring? Was it not the APC people who today have entered and are no longer talking about restructuring that were talking about restructuring? These other people that are talking about restructuring, by the time they enter again, they will forget restructuring. For how long are we going to allow the political elite to use our head as if it's coconut? I think if I said this thing before I speak, so you know the answer. When I make Kukuma begin to speak PG, maybe not all of us will understand fast. They are the same. They speak the language that they want you to hear. When they get in there, they will not do it. This is APC. This is the 6th year of APC government. In 2014, APC was the one that was calling restructuring. PDP government was silent. The South-South was silent. If the South-South wanted, why didn't they restructure it in 2014? Why wasn't restructuring done in the early 2015? Why wasn't it done 2013? Why wasn't it done 2012? They didn't do it because they do not have the politicians do not have the interest for restructuring. So the thing is that, so when you are coming out to talk as if, they just started this restructuring talk as if it started yesterday. No, go and check Lai Mohammed and co. Go back to their statement. Go back to APC statement when they were formed. Even before that, when they were in different, go and check their statement. They were the ones who were spearheading restructuring. And guess what? 2019 is coming back. I shared recently, APC has done something on restructuring, which was, I think this person, what's his name? Nasir El-Rufai was the one that headed it. They talked about restructuring because we are now moving towards 2023 election, and they know that it's restructuring people want to hear. They will start talking about it again. But when they get into power, they will close. So when you say South-South are saying there's no election, there is no because of restructuring, guys, are because they never answer. When they get in at the same thing, because the same thing That was what these people told us to APC. By now, I thought by now we would have had restructuring. By now, diaspora voting would have been possible. Did APC government not promise Nigerians in diaspora that they can be able to vote when they get into office? Have you been able to vote 6 years? 2 years to go, less than 2 years to go. Have you been able to start voting? So these are the things we should pay. Why are we sitting down and allow people? I don't understand, to become gullible. Meanwhile, these are people when they know their common interests. The citizens are busy holding hatred against each other. I am Hausa Fulani, I am Yoruba, I am Igbo, I am this, I am Isako, I am this. We are holding. Meanwhile, these people in political, they don't hold hatred. They have common interests and they are fluid. They enter, they come out. They will say one thing today, they will say another thing tomorrow. Nigerians will say, but they are politicians, now leave them. So this talk about whether there will be election, there will not be election, we've heard it before 20, except we were not paying attention. It was said, they even say they were going to hand over to military in 2015. It didn't happen. They even said Nigeria was on the brink, Nigeria will collapse. Have you forgotten all of that? It all happened. It's the same permutation. When we come to election, they put that fear in people. The same people that are telling you election will not hold now. Election will come, election will hold. They probably will get into office. They will forget anything about restructuring. It's the people that will be asked that will not be talking about the restructuring. So we've gotten that before. The key thing that you need to pay attention, whether they say, pay attention to the kind of people who are coming into office. Forget about this, whether it's whatever, they pay attention to them. If it's restructuring, let there be restructuring, let there be true federalism, let there be all of these things. Whatever it needs to happen, let it happen. But we must ensure we have the right people in offices. We must ensure we have strong institutions. We must ensure the rule of law. We must ensure the separation of power. We must ensure good governance. We must ensure accountability. We must ensure transparency. We must ensure development. We must ensure good quality education. We must ensure security for all. We must ensure, I could go on and on and on and on and on. That's the things that happen that we need to do. We must ensure that the issue of state of origin, we do away with it. The issue of catchment area, we do away with it. The issue of federal character, we do away with it. We begin to focus on what do I call it now? We begin to focus on merit and ensure that the people, the best amongst us, are the people who are putting forward, whether in our civil services, whether in our political places, whether in our appointments, whether in wherever it is. Those things, these are the things that have to be done. So on the issue of this restructuring conversation did not start today, it has been on. This APC that you see them today, they are playing deaf and dumb. They talk, restructuring was part of their campaign plans. Go and check the APC campaign. Restructuring was part of it. They got into office 6 years later, they haven't done anything. And when those ones have, so it's the same thing we've heard again. Those people you are saying that they say election will not go. Let election come now. They will be changing parties. They will join the people that they said Cross River State governor has entered APC. Which other states is it? But whatever one of the states enters, who are the ones that you are talking about this thing? It is the citizens that they are playing, and I think it is time enough for the citizens to come up. Why is it that the North doesn't want Nigeria to be restructured? So why wasn't Nigeria restructured before 2015? I think that's the question I would like to throw back to you. The same North was shouting. They even APC have done something about restructuring. There's one thing they did, a paper they did on restructuring, where they were asking for this restructuring. Erufai, like I said earlier, was the head of it. So it's the same thing. You're talking about one of the things that many people seem not to realize is that you have a united politician. You have a united political class. It is time for citizens to be united. That's where you're missing it. And every day they will bring religious divide, generation hatred, whatever tribal divide. They will tell you that, oh, it's the other region that is enjoying more. Meanwhile, all of you are suffering the same thing. We are all suffering the same thing. Until people begin to understand that they are all suffering the same thing, and these people are united in meting out that suffering, we continue to be divided while they unite on their interests and get things to be done. I realized that there was a question that was mentioned I didn't answer in terms of ministers. And when it comes to the appointment of ministers, it's actually done based on every state must bring somebody. And so I see doing, yeah, absolutely. That's what they are doing. They are doing the rule and the conquer and divide. That's what they are doing to people. And they are thinking this, so you are fighting for. They are those people are united in what they are doing, meting out all of these things. So in terms of the minister, when it comes to appointment of minister, you have to have one from every state. So the other things that you don't have this is in terms of all of this security,
heads and all of that, the other appointments that the president is doing. And that's why we've had this lopsidedness where most of these appointments are coming from the north. And you would have thought that if the president had any regard for people, with the tragedy that happened of the chief of the army staff, we would have thought that as somebody who would be sensitive to the permutations in the country, would have actually gotten a chief of army staff from the eastern part of the country or from the southern part of the country, just to get this. But of course, he doesn't seem to care. He does things the way that he wants them to be done. Anyway, I think one of the things we need to do is that there's too much power. The Nigerian president is too powerful. It's one, I think it's one of the most powerful in the world in terms of the power that they have to do so many things, appoint so many things, appoint the AGF, appoint all the service chief, all the security, whatever. There's so much power in that. And these are the powers that need to be taken away from the Nigerian president. Some of them should be taken off where an individual is making all of those decisions for the nation. So we need to really work on that. And how do you get that? It's going to be the Constitution. Whether we say this thing is bad or wrong, it's still the Constitution we have. And if you're going to change that, it's by getting the right people into offices. Like Mr. Benjamin Esson said, it is not easy to recall our legislators. That has been part of the problems that we have. But how are we going to end up recalling them? It's by amendments, Constitution, acts being passed. That is how other countries pass. I think, just let me give you an example. If you look, I can't remember the numbers now, but the last time I checked the US Capitol, the politicians that were there, I think most of them were the people in the Senate, and then the House of Rep there. Almost 40-something% of them are lawyers. In most countries, you find out that lawyers are the ones who are in the legislative arm of this thing. Here, we have people, anyhow people, talks. We are more happy to have talks in politics, in offices, than to have people who have the capacity. We will shame the good people out of office. We must get to a place whereby we are actually sending the right people into office, the educated people who know what they're doing. And when they get there, we also must hold them accountable. People cannot keep running away from politics. That has been the mistake that was done before. If I look back to the people who fought for our democracy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if they were the ones who had gotten into office today, it would be what we're seeing today. And then, so we must make those changes, and people must keep on to that. But hey, for those who want the separation to happen, please, don't just talk and not do anything. Ensure that 2023 election, get politicians who believe in that ideology, who want that separation to happen, get them into offices so that when they get to the National Assembly, they can actually have a conversation and actually pass the right kind of bills or whatever that needs to be passed for all of this to happen. Hating each other, coming after each other, it doesn't get anything done. We are the losers at the end of the day, while the politicians are actually united in what they do. At the end of the day, for me, I believe in a great nation, and Nigeria can be an amazing country, and it has capacity to be a great nation. There is no country that is homogeneous. There's no country that is one people. There's no country that is one belief and one everything. Every country is as fragmented as it is the system that gives people enabling environment for them to be able to find a place there and thrive. And that's what matters. And that's why when they're talking about the American dreams and all of the dreams, we also need to have our own Nigerian dreams, or Oduduwa dream, or Arewa dream, or Biafra dream, or Afema dream, or Kukuruku Empire dream. I'm from Kukuruku. That's my empire. We get there. But whatever it is, let lives matter. Let's do the right thing in every capacity that we find ourselves. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much. If we see a woman that is doing a lot to help her community, believe me, she must have a very, very admirable husband backing her. I'm taking this opportunity to thank our brother Ali Osigwe Yesufu, who is the man behind our strong lady. We are very, very happy. We are very, very grateful for everything that you are able to do today. My people all over the world listening for the past, how many hours now?
Almost 4 hours.
Almost 4 hours. Ooh. Well, on your behalf, I'm going to thank our sister. We are going to be rounding up now. We are not, no more questions. We are rounding up. But now, I don't think this is a question. What does it mean when President Buhari talks? When he speaks, President Buhari, when he speaks on anything, Sister Aisha Yesufu, what does it mean?
For me, basically, I don't listen to the president. I don't take his words with mean nothing. I've said that before, even on national TV. I said the words of the president mean nothing, absolutely nothing. He says one thing and does another. He doesn't have the integrity that is expected of a leader. So for me, I say kudos to the people that even have time to listen to him. I don't listen to the president. And I think if we have a nation that is truly a nation, if we had a national assembly that is truly a national assembly, the impeachment proceedings should have been ongoing now. From the statement that the president did in the recent interview he did, where he was asked why is he doing railway, from the reports of the state speech, because I haven't watched the interview, railway to Niger Republic, and he talked about the fact that he has cousins over there, and there is a British that divided those lives. Yeah, and in a country that's a country, there should be impeachment proceedings. And that's why I say Nigerians, we need to put people in the legislative arm of government that are going to hold the executive accountable. And that's where the main power is. It's not even the people really that, because we see our power, we give the power belongs to the people. We give our sovereignty to certain people we vote into office for them to be able to utilize that power on our behalf. So the people that we vote to the National Assembly should be, and the state houses of assembly should be the ones doing a whole lot of holding government accountable. And that's where the National Assembly, of course, it has its oversight function and all of the things, making laws, its oversight function, holding the executive arm accountable. That's why you have the separation of power, but our own isn't doing that. So for me, really, the president, absolutely nothing. There's nothing that comes from the president.
It's nothing.
And he has shown that, you know, when people try to shield him and say that, oh, the president doesn't know what is happening, I said to them, no, he knows what is happening. Everything that is being done is with the knowledge of the president. And I must state here categorically that the vice president also is the same way as the president. Nobody should come and be saying that, oh, his hands are tied. If his hands are tied, his mouth is not tied, neither is his brain tied. We have a son in office where a lot of human rights abuses have been going on. A lot of rights of people are being truncated. Many people, and I'm inclusive of that, many people voted for Buhari because of Osibajo was on that ticket, and the way he came on, he was proactive. He was on. He even started the campaigns even before Buhari had started the campaign. Today, he pretends that he doesn't know where he's going. He pretends that he doesn't know the kind of atrocities that are being meted out on the country, and even the shrinking of the civil space started for him. So for me, I don't. And I would like to take this moment to also thank you so much for appreciating my husband. And I think in most times, you know, people normally don't do that, but he's one person that, oh my goodness, he's my teacher, he's my mentor. My husband is my everything. Whatever I see me doing today, he's one of those persons who have given me the backbone to get it done. I love him so much, and I never hide it. And he's somebody that I respect absolutely. He's a feminist to the core, with action and everything. And you know, especially with my family, I put my life on the line a lot of times. Sometimes you don't feel it. They are the ones who feel the heat. A lot of people call him, oh, why is he allowing his wife do this and all of that? And he has stood firm, and he has always been supportive. He's my backbone. And honestly, I continuously every day pray to God to reward him with agenda free doors, give him all the good in this world, and they have that. Thank you so much for appreciating him.
Ami, we are very, very proud of your family. Where we are now, I'm going to call my other presenter who is going to give the vote of thanks and round up. But before I do that, I want to make one or two announcements. Yoruba Gbode lives on donations. So those of you who keep helping us, we thank you. Those of you who are thinking about helping us, please make donations to Yoruba Gbode. We cannot thrive unless we get money. Thank you so much for helping. Also, Yoruba Gbode virtual camp, where we teach our children how to speak the language and learn about the culture is coming soon. Those of you who your children are not speaking Yoruba, don't forget to register very, very soon so you can join the class and give your children opportunity to speak your language. Another important announcement is, please, people who are asking you for money for Yoruba security, please be careful about who you give money to. Some of them, they don't use it for Yoruba security. Please and please and please know who you give the money to when they are asking for Yoruba security. Baba Ayiloge is waiting for suggestion from everybody about what they are working on Yoruba security. I posted his number on the chat. Please call him if you have anything to offer. Also, if anybody say that they are selling bulletproof shirts, I say it again, if they tell you that they are selling bulletproof shirts, tell them to wear it first while you look for AK-47 and try it on them. Let them wear it. So if it works, then pay them the money. If they don't stay around for them to get the money from you, then you know what that means. We have to be careful. Don't buy bulletproof shirts from anybody unless they put it on while you look for AK-47. That is very, very important. Don't take that kind of risk. Next week, by the grace of God, we are going to be hosting Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Fálànà, Amòfin Àgbà pátápátá on Yoruba Gbode. Now over to you, my honorable Atọ́kùn Abọ́lájí Ayọ̀bámi. Unmute yourself and let's cut our honorable guest loose. She has been enough.
Yes, thank you very much. We will have bought one of the vests tonight, but we want to test it first.
No.
Ajia.
Try it on yourself first.
No, we will try it first on the seller. We will work, then we will buy you one because we want you to be around for as long as possible for all your activities. No matter what, shout or no shout, trust me. God is kind, God is good. All your activities, you need to be protected. We welcome you. We thank you very much for the hours that you have spent today and the depth of knowledge and activism in Nigeria. And I know your children will be following your food because I can't just envy you how they will see you every time you come on the air or you come in the street. I believe some of them are going to be taking after you, and thank God for your husband who let you do whatever you are doing. We really appreciate it. The knowledge of the information you have passed today, I think people will use it and take it. But I just want you to know that people hear you. And you standing for the feminine gender means a lot because the feminine gender has suffered too much in Nigeria. Whether they're mothers, wives, sisters, or daughters, all the feminine genders have not been respected like they were respected in other countries. And I think time has come for them to stand their ground. Because all these presidents, all these governors, all these senators, all these leaders, they have wives, they have mother, they have daughters. If they can do half of what you are doing to correct them from the inside, to catch them young at the cradle, they will not go outside there and give a life that is not worthy to the citizenry. Because I believe if they have the same spirit of feminism that you have, and they can stand to them toe-to-toe on their bed or in their house or in their locality, they will know that when they come out to the city or to the state or to the nation, to do the right thing that will benefit the family and the family structure. Because it is the women that suffer most, whether political imbroglio, whether anything, it is the women, either they lose their husband, they lose their son, or they lose their anything. But time has come for the woman gender to be defended. And people like you, we appreciate God. First of all, because I believe it's not you, it is God. The God that has put it in you to stand strong and to live on him, not on the bullets that fly from the hand of the military or from the government. Because if God keep you, no one can take you away. And the second one, like Olootu has thank your husband for being the backbone, the pillar behind the throne, the pillar behind your activism. and for allowing you, because many men will say, well, don't go outside, don't come and bring water problem to me. We thank him also, and we encourage you to continue to see the dream that you want. Some of us don't believe in the country, Nigeria exists the way it is, but the will of God is what we want. But for people like you to be ready to step in, advocate for people, let people follow you, advise them to go and challenge the people in the authority. They will demand for their rights, a fundamental human right that is United Nations backed, by the African Union backed. So when they ask for it, they have a lot of things that they will gain. Women can change the entire structure if they rise up. They should not fear, and they should not look them and say that, who am I? What can be? God will use them as you are using you to be where you are. So thank you very much for the number of hours you spent today. And we want you to know that we will not wait to ask you to come over again anytime that you want to come and share the knowledge with our viewers. And any other thing that we need to know, we are a bridge builder. We are a gap bridger. So Yoruba Gbode is a place where we analyze everything, left, right, and center, and we let people choose, and we let people go the direction that will be benefit for the people, for the nation, for the community. So whether it is self-agitation, or whether it's restructuring, or whether it's the unity of the nation, whatever it is, we want to make sure people are all together going for their destiny. They should take the bull by the horn. It's enough. 1999 to now is 21 years or more.
Yeah.
And something happened from the military. Now we don't expect the same thing to repeat itself in the civilian regime. But what we are even seeing at the civilian regime is even worse than in the military days. So we need to rise up and make a correction to it and let the nation or the people determine their own destiny by themselves. So God will bless you, God will be with you, and we thank all our viewers that have participated today. All the contribution you made is very valuable, and I know we have learned one or two things. So we will not wait to see you next week, God willing, when we have another special guest as Olootu have announced. So God bless you.
So on behalf of the whole Yoruba Gbode team, everybody that's participating, from my engineer in Nigeria, engineer Israel Oriaku, to Baba Professor Tony Falola, who has always been a supporter, great supporter of Yoruba Gbode, and our three wise men, Baba Ayinoge Adeniran, Baba Kishipu àti Yeye Omofalabo Ajayi Soyinka, and also my own engineer, my lovely daughter Ayoteju Adekunbi, who is always in support of her mom. I'm grateful. My honorable councilwoman, Mrs. Zulfa Tuara, we are always proud of you. Thanks for your help. Thanks for your support. On behalf of everybody that I forgot to mention their names, Reef Note, I won't forget you, the owner of Reef Note website, where they have a lot of many people streaming in to watch Yoruba Gbode. We are very grateful. On behalf of everybody and myself, it is me, Shola Yusuf Aiweniloma. Bye-bye.
God bless
you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Odùduwà ò fọ́tẹ̀ túnṣe nìyẹn kò sóṣì kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ ọmọ onílẹ̀ fẹ́ lò lẹ́ o.